Well, I just want everybody to know that I'm wearing this Rangers jersey probably 3 times this week, today, tomorrow, and most definitely on Wednesday when the Broadway Blues, the guys from Broadway, make their way to Chicago to Peter slap the Chicago Blackhawks all up and down the west side, in particularly the United Center, and hopefully to God that the great Igor Shesterkin is starting, because I have a sorry feeling that Henrik Lundqvist is going to let up some soft goals. Is going to piss me off.
Has it been that bad this season with Henrik?
And, he's getting old now. He's not making the saves he used to. But Igor, the great Shesterkin, has been out there making flipping moves. But he was nursing a sore ankle, so hopefully he'll be okay by Wednesday, so we can see the torch getting passed when the great Patrick Kane thinks that he's going to score on the Great Wall of Igor, and he's just getting frustrated as piss at his own home ice because the New York Rangers that are about to get red hot going for a playoff spot just Peter slapped the Chicago Blackhawks.
Send us right into the trade deadline? You're going to send us in the trade deadline? I would like that. I would like for somebody to send us to the trade deadline.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I would hope. So like the Rangers have kind of been in this talk about the trade deadline, more in particular Chris Kreider, of what's going to happen. And as much as I would love to trade him, at a point right now where I would just rather just sign him. I don't know if there's a way that you can make things work, but I just don't want to get rid of Chris Kreider. It's like the same way that I feel about Jameis Winston, especially him having his LASIK eye surgery. Now, at this point, I don't want to get rid of him. Something tells me now that he can freaking see that he's actually going to snap off this year and things will be great. And we'll get into all that later on in the show. This is the Mac and Black podcast. That's Mac. I'm Black. So we got a lot to talk about here. We got UFC 247 bring up John Bones Jones and Dominic Reyes.
Hell of a fight.
It was a hell of a fight. We'll break that down and what we think, and then I'll explain to you why John Bones Jones going to the heavyweight division would be his most utter mistake after what I saw on Saturday. But we're going to kick it off hot, which has to be the hottest news in going on in sports. Steven, what's going on? And that would be Major League Baseball right now and the black eye that's going around with Major League Baseball. So today would be Saturday. So I would be assuming that happened either Thursday or Friday. Both Jose Altuve, actually it would have been Thursday because Cody Bellinger's comments came out yesterday.
Yeah,
and then
God, I love him now.
And then Carlos Correa came back and rebutted, and we'll break both of those down.
Yep.
But on Thursday, Jim Crane, Alex Bregman, and Jose Altuve all issued apologies about this whole cheating scandal and whatnot. What then happened is on Friday, Cody Bellinger, the current reigning NL MVP.
And the GOAT.
And right now, it could be the GOAT for right now.
For now, the GOAT.
Came out and pretty much blasted the Houston Astros.
Scorched earth.
He told people that he has no respect for Houston.
Yeah.
That Jose Altuve, they know that he had a buzzer because if you win a World Series, you are getting, like Gary Sanchez came out earlier in the week and said, dude, if I hit a home run to get the Yankees to the World Series, you could rip my pants off. I could care less. And Cody Bellinger, he said the same thing. You could rip all my clothes off, dude. We're going to the World Series. Why is Jose Altuve saying, don't rip off my jersey, and then you go to disappear, and now you want to come back and celebrate? Well, Carlos Correa came into defense today, and I listened to this on my way up in here.
Yeah.
And he says, and I quote, and he can't think we're this damn stupid.
Right. Yeah.
But apparently, Altuve hit a home run against somebody previous, and Altuve's wife says that she called Correa's wife and said that she doesn't like the fact that they ripped Altuve's jersey off and asked him not to do it. Plus, Carlos Correa said that apparently Jose Altuve has an unfinished tattoo in his collarbone.
Had an unfinished tattoo, at the time.
And they didn't want him to. They didn't want him.
It looked bad.
It looked bad. They didn't want to be exposed. You cannot take us for jackasses and think that is the reason why Jose Altuve didn't want his jersey ripped off. Meanwhile, on Green Street, I can show you 4 pictures previous of when he's whipping off his own clothes, taking off his own jersey,
at the beach,
getting his jersey getting ripped off, and he was at the beach later on with Carlos Correa with his shirt all off. You think that we're that stupid to understand what's going on? Kiss my ass. I respect the fact that you're trying to stick up for Jose Altuve, but Cody Bellinger is right. First off, F anybody that didn't vote for Aaron Judge. The only thing Altuve did better than Judge that year was batting average. Judge had more runs. Judge had more home runs. Judge had more RBIs. Judge had a better OPS. Judge had a better on-base percentage. Judge was simply better. And to add insult to injury, the Yankees weren't even supposed to make the playoffs in 2017 because that year was supposed to be the rebuilding year, and they won 100 games, won the wild card. They weren't supposed to beat the Twins. They weren't supposed to beat the Indians, and they sure weren't supposed to go Game 7 with the Houston Astros. So there's no way in hell you're telling me that Jose Altuve was a better player in 2017 than Aaron Judge. That's crap. I was not trying to get fired up on the show, but now you've done it because when you mess with the Yankees, you mess with me. Me. Okay? So Carlos Correa, a huge FU for trying to insult the American people.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how he's speaking out of both sides of his neck. First, he says, oh, well, we have to take responsibility because we cheated, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
3 seconds later, then goes and says, well, Cody Bellinger needs to do the facts because if you look at those games, we won Game 1 on the road, but then look at how many times people were on base, and you have to use multiple signs because in the World Series, you can easily get them stolen. You can't be that much of a jackass, dude. You were busted in 2017, you were damn near busted in 2018, and you were further busted in 2019 because you are not telling me that Altuve knew that slider was coming. There's no way he knew that was coming. You are not eating fastballs all day, and all of a sudden you just happened to smarten up and knew the slider was coming. Piss off.
Yeah, I think the most insulting thing is just, you're clearly insulting our intelligence with this.
It really is, dude. It really is. It's so much, and that's why, look, I want to the Yankees and Dodgers are right now at plus 350 to win the World Series this year. I would love to see the two of us go together. Nothing would make me better than to see the Astros win 60 games and realize how much of a piece of crap that team is. Yeah. But you are not finna sit there in front of Ken Rosenthal and insult all of the people that watch baseball that you didn't cheat, that all of a sudden Jose Altuve is the golden child out of all this because he, according to Correa, when they were using the trash can, he would come in the dugout and say, I don't want to use this. That's not how I hit.
Oh, yeah.
Piss off because Jose Altuve's short ass, no way you're catching up to 103 mile an hour heat when you don't know it's coming. Second off, apologies need to be handed to Clayton Kershaw because there's no way you're going to tell me one of the best pitchers in baseball all of a sudden is a piece of crap in the World Series because they knew the curveball was coming. They knew the slider was coming. And when they was ready for that fastball, they was lighting his goof ass up. They clowned you, Darvish, because everyone was saying you, Darvish, was tipping pitches. You said, I don't even know what the hell you talking about. That's because they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros are the biggest pieces of crap in baseball. And anybody that sits here and supports them, piss off on you too.
Yeah,
freaking ass clowns. We're not 10 minutes in the show, and I'm already fired up because I'm sick of this crap. This is crap. Pure crap. My team got cheated out of 2017. My guy got cheated out of MVP 2017. And we got cheated out of last year. BS.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's hard not to talk about this Astros thing and not feel insulted by like Jim Crane that
another douche, another just trippy douche.
Look up just sloppy and this sort of perfect encapsulation of what entitlement is. This is a dude who's never had to explain himself and never had to, really, he's gotten by with his money his whole life, and now he's in front of the media, and they're basically saying, hey, this is clearly a competitive advantage for the Astros, a competitive disadvantage for the opponents, and he just puts his foot in his mouth like 10 times in the interview, basically saying, no, we didn't have a competitive advantage, then saying, oh no, I never said we didn't have one, and then they're like, no, you did. You literally just like they're so sloppy. Yes. They clearly thought that firing both the GM and the manager was going to kind of create this space for them to say, okay, it's done now. We've moved on, and that's it. We can't do that anymore. We have to continue to be vigilant about what we're talking about as far as like currently, but also we need to do more research into what happened in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, because we don't know enough right now.
And let me say this too. Because Correa he said the same thing. He goes, well, Jim Crane didn't, he wouldn't know. He owns the Houston Astros. He doesn't go out there and do what's one of the hard. Dude, you just don't get money and just buy teams because I feel like it.
Right.
Okay? You think Steve Cohen, which, by the way, I'm going to crap on Rob Manfred because you became my favorite to a complete piece of crap yourself. We'll get to your dumb ass here in a minute.
Yeah.
But, Dude, Crane knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Dude, Carlos Correa, I applaud you for being the puppet of the Houston Astros in front of Ken Rosenthal to make yourself look like a complete dumbass, because in 20 minutes, it's exactly what you did. You made yourself to look like a complete dumbass. What you should have done was kept your mouth shut, take these L's, and move on with your life. Because the whole time I was driving in listening to that BS out of his mouth, I just kept getting enraged further and further and further. And then when I got here, I was like, the bomb is ready to explode. Because this idiot just did that, made himself look like a complete, utter dumbass.
Yeah.
Jose Altuve had an unfinished tattoo. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and that can't
be. Who cares?
That can't be the actual reason.
It's not the actual reason. Well, Jose Altuve is a humble player, and he wouldn't come out and say that. But yet you put him in front of a microphone to give out a half-ass piece of crap apology to him. Well, he didn't say that he cheated. He was just apologizing because, we got caught in this. And he said a lot of times that he didn't want to do it. And then. Dude, Carlos Correa, kiss my nuts. How about that? Kiss my nuts. Now, on to part 2 of this.
Wait, hold on. Because I want to talk about.
You just got
saved. Yeah, I was going to say, hold on. I want to say because Carlos Beltran, I don't want to let him off.
Yeah, another piece of crap.
Yeah.
I am embarrassed you donned the Yankee jersey. Piss off, too.
And clearly, because I think I said on the show, I don't know if we both said it, but I think I definitely said it. I thought, oh, man, maybe, this is kind of, I don't know if it was excessive. I was sort of on the fence of whether or not the Mets should have fired Beltran. After this week, though, I understand why they did. He was essentially the architect of that new program. He came into the franchise, I think, from the Yankees, right? It was from his stint with the Yankees in 2015 to the Astros, and basically told them, you guys are way behind. And essentially saying the rest of the league is doing this. That is the real bombshell in this whole thing right now. Because
and if you remember his press conference, see if you can catch his press conference. He said the same exact thing
about the Mets
in plain sight. He said that when I become manager of the New York Mets, we're going to do things differently. We're going to catch up with technology, and we're going to, get with the times because I feel like we're way behind. He was going to steal signs for them, too.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And you know what I will say, Nick, because this is what really bothers me about this whole saga, is that the people who say, well, cheating has always been a part of baseball.
Preach.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, you're right, but what we're talking about is completely different. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people saying that, what happened was the cheating in baseball kept going and kept going and kept going and kept adapting to the times. And in the 70s and 80s, they were saying that TV was still sort of in its infancy. They weren't as much ways to make a program like this happen. And then in the mid to late 80s and early 90s, teams started figuring out that we can have technological advancements and sort of advantages to this and help our hitters know what's coming. Now, the big thing is, when we're talking about cheating, we're talking about spitballs, we're talking about, doctoring the baseball, doctoring the bats. This type of stuff is true. Even stealing signs. Stealing signs, the real thing about stealing signs is it's a science.
Right.
And it's, you get on base, and now you're in plain sight. Your catcher is in plain sight. I see your catcher giving the signals to the pitcher. I can now, as a base runner, make note of that. Okay, this is what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about a intricate video system that now relays the sign directly to the batter with may or may not be a buzzer system or a noise system or a trash can system or whatever it may be. This is a complete different thing. This is a complete different situation. And the scary part right now is that the Astros are coming out and fumbling on this really badly. And one of the things that slipped out of Jim Crane, that idiot, that knucklehead.
Complete dumbass.
The reason why he's so stupid is because he doesn't even realize what he's saying. What slipped out of his mouth in one of his sentences is essentially saying the rest of the league does this. And now what we're seeing now is that the Astros are going to do their best to make sure that every single team that has had this type of system is exposed. This is something that has been given to a bunch of different baseball sources, that the Astros are hell-bent on making sure that everybody who had a similar system to them, which they're saying is a lot of teams in this league, they're hell-bent on making sure that's exposed. Now, I will say this. It's hard for me to see reactions like Bellinger and all of these guys that have come out in the last couple of weeks and imagine that those guys have as intricate of a cheating system as them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't come out with that much fervor. If you're Bellinger, you're not coming out, sticking your neck out and calling this dude, essentially calling him an asshole.
Yeah.
That's what he called. He's like, these dudes are assholes. They think we're stupid, this and this and that. You won't do that if you know that you guys are doing that shit too.
Right.
Everybody may be cheating. Everybody, like I said, I talked about how the Cubs, even when they were in their playoff run and World Series run, they would, they had a system where they would tap the helmet at second base and the batter would know what's coming. Fine. We're not saying that isn't a part of the game. It is. The video systems, the buzzers, the audio, this and that. It was a very clear thing what the Astros tried to do. And again, Beltran, that's why I stopped you to go to Manfred, because Beltran, we really have to decide what we want to do with this guy now. We have to go to him and say, all right, your name is already tarnished. It's done. I mean, he's probably still going to make it into the Hall of Fame somehow. But you have to go to this guy and say, let's talk now. We need to talk about where this started, how you understood the system to be, how you were implementing this for the Mets when you started. Because let's remember, he had 2 weeks under his belt with the Mets before he got fired. Yep. So we can see some very clear things. Okay, let's follow the cookie crumbs and see what he was doing the first few weeks at the Mets to see what type of stuff he was putting in place. Because this is what we need to know now. Because now it's going to be done. We know it's going to be done because teams don't want to go through what the Astros are going through right now. But to look at teams like the Dodgers, the Yankees, and some of these other teams and say, oh, you guys, you lost, it's over, like just get over it. That's such bullshit in so many ways.
Let me bring that up. I'm glad you brought that up. Manfred, you got about another minute before we crack your ass. So hold on. You are not off the hook by any way.
not yet.
Let me go ahead, because it's enough people that's listening, and I'm just going to go ahead and start nipping this in the bud. So I'm going to go ahead and make this controversial statement, and then you guys can just decipher it as it is. Because for anyone that's sitting here and saying, oh, well, we need to just move on and forget about it because this is old and we're getting played out, then let's keep that same energy on Pete Rose. Because if I have to keep hearing about his stupid ass getting into the Hall of Fame, let's get over that too. If I have to get over this, let's get over Pete Rose. Yeah. I'm done hearing about it. Yeah. He's not getting in. He's banned. He's done. Yeah. It's over. Get over it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry. I'm over here spitting all over the place. I'm sitting here like, all I'm hearing is, oh, well, he leads the league in hits, and it's Charlie Hustle, and it's Pete Rose, and this. He did something to get him banned in baseball. You know when Pete Rose will get in the Hall of Fame? When he's dead. Get over it. It's not happening. Yeah. So unless you want me to change my tune about Pete Rose, I don't want to hear this getting over it. So let's get over that. We've been crying about this jackass forgetting, and let's not act like Pete Rose is this great saint that's walking around without his Hall of Fame jacket for Major League Baseball. Because word on the street is Pete Rose is a big-time piece of absolute human crap.
Yeah.
That's what I've been hearing. So let's lay this to rest, okay? Mm-hmm. So if I have to lay this to rest, let's lay that to rest. It's over. It's done. He's not getting in. Get over it. Mm-hmm. And when he dies, the next year after he's dead, he will get the Ron Santo treatment. As terrible as that sounds, he's going to get the Ron Santo treatment because Ron Santo just apparently, according to the great baseball writers of America, was not good enough to get in while he was alive, but he was great enough to get in when he was dead. Yeah. And guess what? Pete Rose is right behind him. No matter how much you like it, no matter how much you don't like it, fact is fact. The man cheated, and baseball will say, or not he cheated, but he bet, and for his advantage, and guess what? It got the death penalty. Yeah. And guess what he's going to serve? Will be the death penalty, so get over it.
But also, I do feel the need to make a very big distinction. When we're talking about the Astros, we can't talk about Pete Rose in the same breath. This is a completely different thing, right? Like, okay, I get what Nick is saying. He's talking about the thought process of like get over it and this and this and that. Okay, but what we're talking about here, people who want to say, well, this is a good example. I think the one thing that really pissed me off about Rose was he came out and was like, well, see, look what the Astros did.
Exactly.
Maybe I should get in now. It's like, dude, that has nothing to do with you, and we don't care about that. We're talking about something completely different. And by the way, if you're looking at my facial reactions while Nick was talking, I'm sorry, I was listening, but we were watching the UFC here card with
just got rocked.
Yeah, John Dodson and Nathaniel Wood, and Dodson rocked this Nathaniel Wood, and Wood had a nasty cut on his eye. That's why I was making that face, because I was listening and I caught a thought or a glimpse of his eye. It looked nasty. So yeah, we're watching the UFC card right now.
Got kicked in the nuts twice while you were talking.
Yeah, exactly. And then Dodson just did a backflip off the fence. But yeah, so before we move on to Manfred, because I do want to kind of get into this whole distraction that Rob Manfred and the MLB have created for themselves over the last week and a half. But I really want to make sure that people understand that baseball right now is, still up there in the stratosphere. People still very much value baseball and what baseball is. But what people have to understand is that there's like a lot of problems in baseball when it comes to competition. And there's always this weird gray area with cheating, our teams, and that has always existed in baseball. And when somebody takes that sort of tinge and takes it to this level that the Astros have, it changes the way people look at the game. So I'm very interested to see how teams sort of, what the atmosphere is like this year in baseball. Because one thing I will say, Dallas Keuchel, welcome to the White Sox. I love you. But, dude, please stop talking about the Astros.
Yes.
Please stop talking about the Astros. We have to move on from this, because every single time you do, you look like an asshole. It's not because you're trying. I don't even think it has anything to do, because let's be honest, this system was made for hitters.
Right.
Let's be very, very clear about this. This system is made for hitters, and whether or not we want to believe it, pitchers, we talked about how Garrett Cole was clearly trying to distance himself from this team after, they lost, and clearly pitchers didn't like this very much. But Keuchel, what he keeps saying is, well, we were the champs, we still won, with this and this and that, we earned this. Listen, man, It's time when somebody asks you a question like that, that's bait, bro. Just move on. Stop talking about the Astros. You're a part of the White Sox now. Let's not because the biggest thing that this is going to be now is it's going to be a distraction all year. Every single time the Astros go and visit a different team, it's going to be the fucking Astros are in town, and it's going to be this big hoopla, and everybody's going to be on extra alert, and we're going to have everyone in the bullpen. The bullpen's coach going to be watching very good. So, the game is going to change a little bit because of it. And right now, what we're going to see is the Astros try and snitch the rest of this league out to make sure that everybody is in trouble who's done something like this.
Steven asks, so you're saying anyone that takes steroids should be in the Hall of Fame, not naming any players? I mean, again, show me failed tests. Roger Clemens, accusations. Barry Bonds, accusations. Sammy Sosa, accusations. Mark McGwire, we know he was on it. Baseball allowed it. And I'm on record of saying that I don't think taking steroids is that much of cheating in the first place.
That's what I was going to get at.
It's not that much cheating in the first place. Okay, let's just say for conversational purposes, let's just say if Barry Bonds was on steroids, wouldn't have made a difference because he was bombing 340-foot home runs, which is usually home runs. Yeah. And then when he went to San Francisco, he was bombing them 400 feet. Guess what? It's still a home run.
His dad was an amazing baseball player. His godfather was Willie Mays.
Right.
The guy is baseball royalty.
Who only happened to hit 660 home runs, by the way.
It's not like you took some dude from bumblefuck Iowa and stuffed steroids in him, and now he's an amazing baseball player. No, you still have to be an amazing baseball player. And what I would suggest is anybody who is rah-rah anti-steroids, watch that baseball documentary. They break it up into 10 innings, 10 1 hour, 10 long sort of segments. The 10th one is about the late 80s and early 90s, and talking about how when McGwire and Canseco and all of these guys were in Oakland, this was like you were in a locker room and it was a steroid party.
Yep.
You were like, you get me in my... All right, here you go. Literally, you're poking your buddies in the ass with steroids in the locker room, and it was this weird atmosphere, and there was this very clear thought process that players knew we're all juicing. We're all doing this now. That's it. And that documentary does an amazing job on Barry Bonds. It shows Barry Bonds for his first 7 years with the Pirates. Right. And basically talking about how, first of all, the media was very racist in Pittsburgh. And I forgot who the other player is. Van Slyke. Andy Van Slyke. Mm-hmm. Basically saying that Andy Van Slyke is he's the face of Pittsburgh sports. He's the face of the Pirates. Meanwhile, Barry Bonds over here, 30-30 every single year, no recognition. Nobody in Pittsburgh liked him. They constantly attacked him. And all he did was when he became a free agent, he basically said, okay, I'm going to go to San Francisco. That's where my dad plays, where Willie Mays played. He wanted to go to San Francisco and play with the Giants. And one of the things that he was told over that offseason is, Barry, you're gonna need to talk to a couple of my nutritionist guys, because I'm telling you right now, in Oakland, those guys were juicing up like crazy, and now we got players on X, Y, and Z team doing everything they can to get pumped up. If you're Barry Bonds, dude, just imagine. First of all, this is about your job. Let me just make this very clear to people. The reason why we saw some of these really, like Ken Caminiti and some of these really weird, like, oh my God, he came out of nowhere and now he's amazing. We saw this because guys were like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job and everyone around me is already better than me, and now they're juicing. So now I have to get better, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Either I get better or I lose my fucking job. I'm not saying that was Barry Bonds, but I'm saying that was the mentality. Yep. So I want people to just stop with this demonization of steroids as if it ruined the game. No, steroids, just like, by the way, cocaine in the 70s and 80s, every guy on the field was on cocaine.
Darryl Strawberry.
All of them were on cocaine, Adderall. All of these were a part of the game. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying I would like it. I'm not saying I prefer it that way. I'm saying we have to stop demonizing these people, these amazing players who took steroids during their career. If you want to asterisk them, fine. I don't even really care. But, dude, stop this demonization of Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and all these guys who may have took steroids. Alex Rodriguez doesn't get that rap. I don't get it. Like, Alex Rodriguez still on Fox. Everybody loves him. This is very clear that this guy was taking steroids.
Now that he's banging
J-Lo. Everyone's like, all right, good
A-Rod might
move.
be buying the Mets.
Good move, Alex. Yeah, but just stop with this demonization of steroid guys. We have to understand what steroids is and understand the history of it before we jump to conclusions.
Steven, echo what you said. Just saying, is there going to be an asterisk next to Bonds' name? For me, there's not. There's going to be people that are going to put it up there because they, think about it. There's people right now that still believe that the home run king, as far as home runs in a career, is still Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
There's still people when it comes to home runs in a season that is still Roger Maris.
And some people believe it's still Babe Ruth.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Because the old commissioner tried to put one against Maris's name because they played, like, eight more games than when Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
I mean, Babe Ruth did.
Because Babe was the baby of the league at the time, so they didn't want to make him look bad, so they said, no, we'll put an asterisk then. Right. Asterisks don't really matter. Fine. If you want to put it to make yourself feel better, go ahead. But I'll tell you what, I guarantee you he's still in the Hall of Fame. Yep. I guarantee you he still has a jacket. So that's what I'm saying. Give the recognition to these guys who did amazing things. Because if you want to take it to that to that extent with steroids, let's take it with cocaine. Let's take it with these other pills that they were giving these guys before they. Let's start, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a mess. It is going to be a shitstorm. If you want to start to split hairs about steroids and this and that, performance enhancing, I'm telling you, dude, for legal reasons, I've never done cocaine before, but I will tell you that cocaine will 100% affect the way that you perform.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, we have to stop with this bullshit excuse about the steroids demonization. No, dude, these guys did everything they could to get stronger, and by the way, there was no bylaws at that time.
That's right.
Nobody was telling these guys, hey, don't take steroids, by the way, this is bad for you. No one was saying that. So it's like, we have to look at this in context and stop saying, like, Barry Bonds is such a legendary guy in baseball. He should be revered the way that you would look at a Babe Ruth or some of these guys, but he's not, because of these silly things about steroids when all this guy did was give us entertainment for 20 fucking years in his career.
Yeah. So now that kind of leads us to the big jackass of all the jackasses. It's like fighting Koopa finally after you done beat all the little bosses in the original Mario.
Yeah, exactly.
So Rob Manfred has been under a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have a new playoff system that got leaked that may happen in 2022.
Oh, man.
Where now they're talking about putting in 2 more wildcard teams. And then, so you're going to have 7 teams in the playoffs.
Half the league. Half the league.
The best team of each league gets a first round bye, which is dumb as balls.
So stupid.
Then, to do some cheap reality TV show, the 3 remaining top seeds then get to pick who they want to play from the 3 wildcard teams that make it. This angered Trevor Bauer, the next side.
He already hates me.
So we got Cody Bellinger as the MVP /
exactly.
And here's Trevor Bauer.
I think he's a douchebag, but for now, we love him. Yeah.
Because Trevor Bauer went on to Twitter and said, I don't know who leaked this, but I will direct this straight to Rob Manfred. Basically, you're a joke.
Yeah.
And he's right.
He's right.
He is absolutely. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Why do we keep wanting to give all these teams these participation trophies? Yeah. If they're like, well, it'll help the trade deadline be a little bit more active because we more teams with it. That's what you made the second wild card for.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of the second wild card.
And what's the point of 162 games then?
Exactly. But guess what? Everyone's like, hey, here's another one, my favorite. Well, the season's too long. They need to shorten the baseball season. No, they don't. They don't. The season is fine just the way it is. Okay.
And if you do, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Like the playoff setting is still, you can't change it this dramatically.
Right. And my problem is this. My problem is baseball is trying too hard All right, this is where baseball is going to get itself in trouble. You're trying so hard to bring in the younger fan that you're about to get rid of your generational fans.
Yeah.
It's like being in the restaurant game. We've all watched Kitchen Nightmares before. 9 times out of 10, the reason why these restaurants fail is because you did so much to keep the old customer that you didn't change for the new customer. But then the problem you run into is if you try to go for the new customer too much, you forget about the clientele that was loyal to you. Baseball's doing the same thing. If you want to talk about electronic umpires, because we got old jackasses like Joe West and Angel Hernandez, the two biggest douchebag umpires of all the umpiring crew. CB Buckner's another one with the worst strike zones ever.
Yeah.
If you want to change that, that's fine. But this whole reality TV, the game's too long, the 3 minimum batter rule, which is beyond stupid. Yeah. You're taking the strategy.
That's
going into this year.
Going in this year, yeah.
And you're taking the strategy out of the game. It's now like Joe Girardi, I'm surprised he even has a job with all the analytics and stuff that's going on, is already saying that this is stupid. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What is the point? My guy has to face 3 minimum batters. He is a left-handed specialist. Right. That's why he's getting paid $5 million to get out lefties. That's all I want him to do.
Yeah, and now, you already have the juice ball stuff.
Yes.
You already have this very clear manipulation to make more runs and more home runs and longer home runs and bigger. And then now you're adding this already disadvantageous, ruling. And then now you're also, you've expanded the rosters, which is good. But now you're talking about this weird system that allows half the league to get into the fucking playoffs. Where in the world do you think... Because, again, why are we playing 162 games? My whole thing with the 162 games is you may or may not think it's too long. I go back and forth on this, honestly. I go back and forth on this. Sometimes I think this league can go 145 games in the same time span as it is currently. That would just give the teams more days off. But I don't think that that's a huge issue right now. I think the 162 games has been happening so long, and teams and players are so used to it by now, there's really no point to go back on it.
Right.
It's at this point, you're playing 162, you're getting your 81 at home, and you're getting your 81 on the road. And I've never seen a team, let's say, that was in the playoff hunt or in the pennant hunt or still playing meaningful baseball late in the season saying this league is too long, this season is too long. No, we love it. If your team is not in it, it's shit.
Exactly.
Trust me, I know. My team hasn't been in it after July for most of these years. But what I'm saying is, sure, you may have this selfish thought that, oh my God, this isn't. But the league is still fun, man. The league was fun last year. The Mets and the Nationals. Listen, the Nationals might not have made the playoffs last year if we didn't have 162 games in the season. Let's just put it that way. The Nats would not have won the World Series last year without 162 games. So you have to trust this, system that's been going on for so long and just. Listen, man, Rob Manfred, to me, this is a distraction. This is a way to say, fuck the Astros. Let's talk about playoffs. What do you guys think? I don't even think this was a serious proposal. I think this was just a way for them to, divert some attention and make baseball look a little better because baseball doesn't look too good right now. Let's be honest, man. Baseball doesn't look too good between the Astros coming out and doing all this bullshit. Everybody abandoning each other. Jessica Mendoza saying Mike Fiers is a piece of shit for doing this. And then all of a sudden now players are coming out and saying the Astros are assholes for the way they're reacting to it. There's like a mutiny within baseball right now.
And then she quit.
She quit, and apparently she quit because they basically told her, you're not that great. Like, you're not all that. Like, you're good, but you're not all that.
This is Jessica Mendoza giving you a baseball thought.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Barry Bonds, or give me a current guy. Chris Carpenter, if he throws that right down the middle, or hits it. I'm like,
It's gone.
dude,
It's gone.
Can you please put a little emotion in what it is you're telling me?
Yeah.
Can you try at least?
There's times.
Like, and let's not get the game twisted. Don't think that I'm just clowning her because she's a woman. Because I think Doris Burke is amazing. I sometimes
she knows her baseball too. She's just not good at that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Jessica Mendoza is good. She just can't talk on TV. Sorry, can't do it.
There's times
Jackie McMullen could do better.
Oh yeah, dude.
Freaking Jessica Mendoza.
And Matt Vasgersian sometimes saves those booths when it's her. They had one with her, A-Rod, and Vasgersian last year.
Yeah.
And at times, dude, I'm not even lying. 2 minutes of dead air. Just 2 minutes of like, yeah, all right, ball one. Ball two. Like, it's just like you there's nothing to talk about. And then Jessica Mendoza, I think she should be like an analyst. She should be in the studio.
Right.
But play by play, it takes a specific guy or gal to do that.
Yes.
I don't think she has that.
No, absolutely not. So then Rob Manfred, of course, I get a message that it's busy. I am not shocked that it is busy door dashing right now. So then Rob Manfred catches more heat for him giving immunity to the Houston Astros players so that they can finally tell the truth of what happened. It has pissed the entire league off. And I'm going to tell you why it really pissed me off. Because before Manfred took office, bug fat head ass Selig suspended A-Rod on a potential witch hunt for 162 games for his so-called involvement with some so-called steroid dealer in Florida.
Victor Conti, right?
Victor Conti some many years ago. And they wanted to make an example out of A-Rod. And A-Rod fought for as long as he could, and so, but because he didn't want to be a distraction to the Yankees, he took the 162-game suspension. So if you can suspend A-Rod basically for a witch hunt with very little proof, you have proof that this team did something bogus to where you had AJ Hinch fired, you had Lamato fired as the GM, you find the Houston Astros, and any name Altuve, any name Bregman, any name Marisnik, any name J.D. Davis that came out should have been a 1-year suspension. Without question. Stop trying to protect the players.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be so buddy-buddy with the PA. Make Tony Clark realize that you are the commissioner of baseball. You are Rob Big Game Manfred, and I am going to lay the hammer of Zeus on the Houston Astros and the babyface punk-ass bitch that is Jose Altuve will sit on his stupid ass for a year because he cheated, and you have the proof. Why did you lay your panties down and give him immunity for the truth?
Yeah.
That was a bitch-made move, and there is nothing short of you being a bitch for doing it. You went from the top of my list to the shit on my list, and it's now barely anything you can do to fix it, because this time you can't catch Houston in any other lie, and you can't take back the immunity. Dumbass. Yeah. You're an idiot. You are an idiot, and right now I'm just thinking about this. Resign yourself as commissioner because you have failed. This playoff stuff coming off, failed. The 3 batter rule, failed. And now what you did to Houston, big time fail. You failed Major League Baseball and us as fans. Resign yourself from your position because you're an idiot. Dumbass. Complete dumbass.
The worst part about this is now the Astros are just going to sing about the whole league. The Astros are just going to sing about the whole league now. It's just going to be a whole case of this, everyone just talking and talking. They're never going to talk about themselves. It's already they've already had everything come out about themselves. What do we need to talk to them about? Are we trying to get Carlos Correa to corroborate about you? No, we already know that you guys fucked up and cheated, and now they're just going to take this immunity and basically give themselves a chance to essentially, snitch out the rest of this league and just take the pressure off themselves is what they're going to do.
Let me write this down because I'm definitely clipping this.
Yeah, and the worst part, also the worst part about the whole Manfred thing was that he had an opportunity to show, because you and I both were on that same level. We were like, wow, Rob Manfred really came out and did this, and that, and we were giving him credit. Whereas before, I mean, don't get me wrong, Manfred has had a decent, last couple of years.
Yes.
After a rough start taking over for Bud, but what he had an opportunity to do is to show fans like us that I don't take this shit I take this shit seriously. I don't take this shit for a joke. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna lay the hammer down. When all the suspensions and all of the stuff came down and the fines and everything, and then the firings happened, you were thinking, God damn, Rob Manfred came down with the hammer of Zeus, right? Exactly what you're talking about. Next thing you know, we see that slowly in the media, he was sort of backing up a little bit and saying, all right, it's time to move on. And all right, leave the Astros alone. There's this big thing about how the Astros were, going, Alex Bregman was, because he's a Barstool a douchebag, so he goes on Barstool a ton. and one of the podcasts he was on, he is literally talking about how they cheat. And literally talking about how we have this awesome video system, man. Like,
oh yes, I saw that.
Dude, it's crazy, man. We got like every pitch from dude. You can name any pitcher, any obscure pitcher from the '90s, from the 2000s. We got every single pitch they've ever thrown. What the sign was. And he's saying this like with diplomatic immunity, like nobody's gonna come to him and be like, yo, what the fuck? And this was we're talking 2016, 2017, like where this isn't like just a couple months ago. This is a dude who back then was like, shit, we're cheating and we don't give a fuck. And we got all the videos and we got all your pictures. So what are you gonna do? And the worst part is, all of that comes out after Manfred lays down the law, and he starts to soften up. And then now this whole playoff change thing, again, it was a distraction, a complete distraction to get away from the fact that the Astros debacle is embarrassing and embarrassing for baseball in general right now.
Freaking insane. Insanity. Rob Manfred, you should be able to not sleep at night for the like 6 months until you resign from baseball because you have embarrassed MLB. Houston embarrassed it, but you made it even worse by not doing your due diligence and suspending those. Because come on, man, like Cody Bellinger has every right in the world to be upset and think the way he did, and Carlos Correa should have not even opened his mouth.
Oh, they should stay out of the media. Like, right. Why are you in front of a camera right now?
Like right now, you can't sit here and be like, oh, well, like I said earlier, you can't 1 minute be like, oh, well, they have every right to be upset with us, and then be like Cody Bellinger should do his homework.
Shut up.
Because at the end of the day, you can sit here and say, oh, there's a man on second, but teams have multiple signs. How do you know the Los Angeles Dodgers had multiple signs?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Yeah, other than you're paying attention to it.
What Carlos Correa did was put himself in a foot and mouth disease mode, because at the end of the day, you showed me many guys who were on second base, and the Houston Astros got hit with all those guys. How, Sway? How?
Yeah.
I don't think the Los Angeles, maybe Houston had multiple signs, but I don't think LA was complicating the system, because maybe they didn't believe that you guys were trying to steal signs the wrong way. Because technically there's a right way where, like, if a guy is on second because they do it all the time, whatever, that's fine. But you weren't electronically doing it. You weren't whistling while letting know what pitch is coming. And then to sit there and be like, well, even though I know what's coming, it's not really that much of an advantage. Yes, it is.
That's so stupid.
If I know that a slider is coming and it's not over the heart of the plate, I'm not swinging at the slider.
Yeah.
If I know a slider's coming, it's over the middle of the plate, I'm cocking back ready to just rip this thing 500 feet into the orbit. It is a clear advantage.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up, dude.
It's insulting to say otherwise.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Carlos Correa spent basically 20 minutes insulting the baseball world. And if I was Ken Rosenthal, as soon as that was over, I'd be like, yo, Carlos, can I talk to you? And slap his bitch ass across the face for wasting time and sitting there and embarrassing himself in front of everybody. That was embarrassing. You should have never requested that interview. He went from basically trying to protect the almighty that is Jose Altuve, which I feel like he didn't do, to making himself look like a full-blown jackass. Congratulations, Carlos Correa, for accomplishing nothing positive.
All I know is first pitch can't come soon enough, because until actual baseball is being played, we're going to have more of this bullshit Rob Manfred distractions, bullshit Astros interviews. I just want this to be over with now. I want to have them be held accountable for what's going on, but I want to be able to now just move on to fucking baseball and not have to worry about anyone cheating. That's
right.
It. Simple as that.
Simple as that. And first pitch is coming up here soon.
Very soon. Pitchers
soon.
and catchers. Some pitchers and catchers.
Garrett Cole looks amazing in that 45 for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. By the way, and this might help with our transition, but NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has announced that the All-Star Game MVP will now be named the Kobe Bryant MVP Award.
That was coming.
That was coming.
coming.
He is the guy, right? I mean, how many has he had? I'll look that up first, because I know he's had a ton of them. But it's still crazy to think that Kobe's gone, especially after All-Star Weekend. One of my favorite times of the year is All-Star Weekend, and this year it feels a little weird because it's in Chicago, so the buzz is kind of close. But I was a little upset that Zach LaVine wasn't in the dunk contest. And then I was already mad that he didn't make the All-Star team, but I mean, I can understand that a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, there has been some buzz here in Chicago.
There has.
It's
been weird.
What did we have? We had the Rising Stars yesterday. We had the Celebrity Game.
Yeah.
Darius Miles came out of hiding, for lack of a better way of putting it. I was like, damn, dude, Darius put on a little weight.
He's been doing that
rocking
podcast.
Those braids. He's still rocking them braids, though, I see.
Dude, I think, I may be wrong about this, but I saw that they had that put on. That they had Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. I'll send it to you later. They wanted to, because remember, they were like the Clippers. They would do the little, I forgot what they called it, the takeoffs or something like that. But they have a podcast now on the Players Tribune.
Okay.
And they had a thing of them literally like a lace front. Like a lace front putting it on Darius Miles. So we'll see if that's real. But no, that was cool, and it was also, the All-Star or the Celebrity Game is, it's silly, but it's cool.
Right.
But the Rising Star Challenge is always is underrated thing, because especially like when you got Luka and Trae Young and some of these guys, Zion showed out. So it was a fun game, and you get to really understand that this league is like chock full of talent right now. The talent that we're seeing in the Rising Stars Challenge, these are all-stars. Pretty crazy to think about that these guys are in their first and second year, and Luka and Trae Young and Zion, some of these guys already showing out. It was a pretty nice atmosphere yesterday.
Steven asks, how about that NFL player that got reinstated for hitting the Pittsburgh QB over the head? That would be referring to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I mean,
getting put back in.
How much longer did they want him to be? It's
that situation is weird in itself.
Yeah.
Because Myles Garrett is still swearing up and down
he got
that Mason Rudolph called him the N-word.
Yeah.
And I almost am inclined to believe Myles Garrett. Because, I know Myles Garrett might be a fool, but I never thought of Myles Garrett being
that much of a fool.
You feel what I'm saying? Take a man's helmet off on Monday Night Football to hit him upside the head kind of fool.
He's also very smart. Like, he's one of the smartest players. I think they were saying that he was like taking he was taking classes after he had left college, and he's just a very smart and articulate guy. And I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that the scenario was Myles Garrett. He incited this giant fight. No, dude. Listen, we all saw the tape. Mason Rudolph. He had a very, very, very big part in what happened on that night. And did Garrett make a huge mistake? Yeah, I think he did. But, are you going to suspend him for this year? No. Come on, dude. Let him play. It was a mistake.
Yeah, no, it was definitely time for him to come back. So I'm not necessarily against them. Wow, it's really busy. I'm not necessarily. I don't understand what's going on. But it was definitely time for him to come back. So I don't have nothing against him coming back. You weren't going to suspend him like you said, like the entire year, damn near. So I have no problem with Myles Garrett coming back. What I did want to talk about though, was UFC 247.
Yes, sir. Your girl Valentina Shevchenko. Let's start with that.
Oh, hold on.
Yes,
I got to bring this up.
Okay.
So my buddy Spiro made a comment on his Facebook that he believes that Barry Larkin was a better shortstop than Derek Jeter. And he wanted me
In what way?
Dude, I'm almost inclined to say that it's a troll post.
Yeah, it's got to be a troll.
Barry Larkin is not a better shortstop, let alone.
Is he saying defensively? Because
maybe defensively. Okay. Here's the thing. Jeter,
he started his career. Yeah, he exactly. He got really good as he got along as a fielder.
Yeah, so maybe I would give Larkin that, but as far as accomplishments and hitting,
just overall hitting,
winning and
lead,
clutch,
clutch.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't even think that's a troll post. What that is he's got to. First of all, he's got to be a Reds fan. Is he a Reds fan?
No, he loves the Cubs.
Oh, he loves the Cubs. Okay, no, that's a troll post.
So UFC 247 came away. Bay did beat the mess out of
Caitlin Chookagian.
There you go, Chookagian. I can never say.
And by the way, Chookagian is good. And that's the fucked up part. Yeah. Is Shevchenko made her look like nothing.
Man.
Swift cheese. If you guys missed it, she ended the fight on a crucifix, had her basically pinned down with her arm. Both her arms were pinned down, and Shevchenko just elbowing her face 15 times until the ref finally got in. And Chookagian, she's a great fighter, but that just shows how good Valentina is, and clearly a very excited Antonina and Valentina Shevchenko afterwards.
They was both looking fine on Saturday night.
Antonina looking extra
scrumptious. Valentina came out with the braids, and as Nelly said, I'm a sucker for cornrows and manicured toes. So I mean,
she still looked good too.
Oh,
I mean,
my God,
dude. It's hard to.
And then she started talking,
I know.
and that just made it so much better.
She speaks 6 languages,
dude.
Too,
that
man.
accent drives me nuts.
I know,
dude. Accents drive me wild.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care what it is. New York accents drive me wild. The Boston ones drive me crazy.
Oh
the
God,
English
no!
ones drives me crazy.
But please, women with the Boston accent, no.
It's more hilarious, but
it's
I can
funny,
still work with it.
But I can't work.
I can still work with it. Spanish accents.
Let's go out for a date. Like, no, no, we're not doing that, Boston. No, I can't do that.
I'm telling you.
Let's go make out in your car.
Valentina Shevchenko represents some country in the middle of
Kurdistan, I think.
Something like that.
She's got an amazing story. She is from Kurdistan. She went to somewhere in Europe to start training. Then she went to South America. Then she lived in Houston, where they did the event in Houston. She lived in Houston for 3 years. If you notice her speech, she spoke amazing Spanish, perfect Spanish.
With the Eastern European accent.
Eastern European accent on the English. She speaks 6 languages. One of the smartest people in the whole UFC, and one of the coolest. And by the way, you notice her girl Halle Berry was in the crowd too.
The talentless Halle Berry,
just a very good looking.
Can I? With football being kind of come and went, and we're not close yet to talking draft because free agency doesn't start till March 16th or some crazy nonsense like that.
Yeah, there's still a lot of time to go.
I'm gonna break something down to everybody.
Okay.
Halle Berry cannot act whatsoever.
Yeah.
And people piss me off when every time I say that, they're like, yes, she can. She's a great actress. She just won her first Oscar.
For what? I don't even remember what it was for.
I don't remember what it was for. I want to say it was for the 911 operator movie.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it's for.
Right, maybe.
But think of all the other movies between that movie and John Wick 3, which I thought she was amazing in.
She's in John Wick 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
For like maybe 30 minutes. And she killed the 30 minutes she was in it.
That's what she is.
Dude, Halle Berry, she's hot, but she can't act.
She's not a centerpiece. She's the one that, like, really good complimentary. Like, oh, my God, she's really good, as a complimentary. But as a centerpiece, I'm not sure. And I can't think of one movie where I was like, whoa. Like, what was it? Monsters Ball, maybe? Like, that was one. But, like, that movie was so bad. It was hard
Bond movie, she was just hot.
Yeah, exactly.
She wasn't great. Catwoman received an award for the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, and it was bad too. It was really bad.
It was awful.
I remember that.
Because Halle Berry can't act. She's just smoking hot and gets away with it.
Nothing wrong with that. You just can't act.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm just saying I just want everyone to get off the status quo to think that this woman can act and she flipping can't.
Yeah.
So when you see Halle Berry, you know why you're cheering for Halle Berry? It's only because she's hot and it's Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Because you've heard her in some songs.
Which
nothing
that's
wrong
all
with that,
but I'm not going to pretend like she's
is
some
anyone,
like...
Is anyone sitting here saying, man, remember when she was Storm in X-Men? She was great. She wasn't.
No.
Hell no.
But she is scrumptious, though.
I'm not saying that.
We will give her that.
I'm not saying that. Shoot, you could have given me Pam Grier, and I would have. Dude, Pam Grier smoking hot, and it's amazing. Still would get the pain. Still would get the pain.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a taco spot down here off of Kirchhoff called Senior Taco.
Okay.
If I went in there to get a keto-friendly burrito bowl. And Pam Grier was in there. This isn't even up for discussion. I'm shooting my shot.
Oh yeah, come on, are you kidding me? That's like one of those. Dude. I've got to. Nobody from my work watches this, so I've got to say this. There was this girl from like another part of our office that isn't like in our team,
right?
And I'm not even joking. Might be the most attractive girl I've ever seen in my life. One of the most gorgeous girls I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, dude, I told my coworker, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to go out of my way. But like, if there is something, because like she sits so far, it wouldn't be natural. Like it would be like, obviously me going in just to be unprofessional and try and holler at this girl at work. But I was like, I told my coworker, listen, if we have some sort of function and she's around, I gotta introduce myself and And lo and behold, it happened. And I'm not really good in that situation because it's been a long time for me. But I immediately I looked at her and I just started stuttering because I was like, God, you're so. And it's just like, okay, but that's the same thing. Like you gotta shoot your shot. When it's there. You gotta shoot your shot. And yeah, I mean. I don't have a great shooting percentage, but I shoot my shot.
Fair enough.
I chuck. I'm like Jamal Crawford. I'm gonna have occasional 50-point games, but I'm not gonna make the Hall of Fame. But I got a couple of games where you look at me and you're like, that guy might be one of the better players in the league.
You might get a call from ESPN to be an analyst.
Exactly.
Because you weren't like total guard. Right. You're not Hall of Fame, but you weren't total ass.
Exactly. They'll be like, when Paul Pierce is sick, you can fill fill in for Paul Pierce on the pregame show.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. Yeah. Halle Berry. Yeah. Okay.
I'll take Pam Grier.
Oh my God, dude. I saw her the other day on an older episode of that Law and Order SVU.
Oh, okay. She does a lot of that now, too.
She's got to be at least pushing somewhere around the 60s.
Somewhere, yeah, for sure.
Still hit.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
gorgeous.
She's smoking hot. Dude.
Yep.
Pam Grier is still smoking hot. So,
shout out Pam.
Yeah, dude, shout out to Pam Grier. So Valentina smashed her opponent. Let's get to the main event.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of thoughts on this main event, and I really want to talk to, we saw it. This is a funny thing about MMA. Like, you can tell, I think of all the MMA fighters, two of the biggest camps you're always going to hear about is John Bones Jones and Conor McGregor. If McGregor wins, no matter if he looks like crap, okay, so when McGregor beat the complete other crap out of Cowboy Cerrone, everybody named mom on Facebook, Conor's back, Irish cloverleaf, blah, 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 Irish flag, Irish pride, blah, 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 this and that. Conor McGregor, even though he went off against Cowboy that's been on a losing streak and should probably retire, Conor's the man, blah, 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 blah. John Bones Jones fans are starting to become on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Because if you watch that fight on Saturday, a few things kind of stood out for me. First, we were talking about this off air.
Yeah.
But I also believe that Reyes won rounds 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, me too.
And if that was the case, the only reason why you would even give Jones the fight per se was because in that 5th round, he did kind of dominate Reyes a lot in that 5th round. Now, maybe towards the end, Reyes kind of was trying to catch his breath because Reyes was winded.
Yeah.
He hasn't really,
he's never been in a
he's
a
never
fight
been in a
past
championship
3 rounds.
fight.
Yeah.
He's never been there. So in the championship rounds, clearly is advantage John Bones Jones, and he kind of took over it. But in those first 3 rounds, dude, Reyes was putting on combos on. Now, apparently John Bones Jones has an amazing chin, but John Bones Jones,
very good.
John Bones Jones did not look great.
No.
So then we go in the 4th, he's getting taken down. We go in the 5th, he's kind of getting taken down, but Reyes was starting to come on a little bit towards the end, just not enough time.
Yeah.
And they give the fight to Bones Jones. And what is the first thing that comes out of Bones Jones' mouth? Guys, I took him down a lot, man. Those takedowns really did it for me. You got to remember, man, you got to try to stop my takedown. And I'm like,
whenever
dude,
you have to sell your win,
you lost. Thank you, Mac.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, whenever
That's
you're like,
exactly where I was
remember,
going.
guys,
He had to sell to the crowd that he deserved to win that fight.
Yeah.
And John Bones Jones, no offense to all the John Bones Jonesers out there, did not deserve to win that fight on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I will go out on a limb and say this. If and when Dominic Reyes gets his rematch against Bones Jones, because he deserves it,
yeah.
Bones Jones is going to get his ass whooped. Because Dominic Reyes, in my opinion, is going to go for blood.
Do you think we should get an immediate rematch? Let's put that out there. Immediate rematch. Okay.
They should not do to him what they tried to do with Gustafsson. Well, then in fairness, what's his name was suspended.
He was suspended, and there was the title was stripped from him.
Reyes at this point, unless who was the other one that I thought that he lost to when he tore his every CL?
Dos Santos, yeah.
If Santos isn't
ready,
ready,
remember he needed a year, and that fight was like 4 months ago.
Then Reyes needs another shot by the end of the year.
For sure. And this fight that we're watching, by the way, we are watching All-Star Weekend and the UFC card, Blachowicz versus Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
This is technically the #1 contender fight. So that's sort of an issue here in a light heavyweight for John Jones.
Okay.
So that's what they're saying. That's what the real intrigue of this card is that if one of these guys has a Showtime type performance, they may get that shot against John Jones, which is terrible. But here's the thing about the fight. Mm-hmm. It was a great fight.
Yes.
Close fight. I want to start by saying this. People who say to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. First of all, no.
Thank you.
First of all, no. Second of all, that thought process, it doesn't hold weight when you're talking about fighting.
Right.
Especially in MMA. When you got 5 rounds, it's very simple. How many rounds did you win, and how much of the fight did you control? Now, what I will say is this. Rounds 1 and 2, without a doubt, I think, Dominic Reyes won.
Yep.
Round 3 was very close. I still gave it to Reyes. A lot of people gave it to Jones, including, and we'll get to this in a second, a judge who had John Jones winning this fight 49-46. That judge deserves to be fired.
Yes.
And never ever judge in this in the UFC again.
I'm with you on that.
That is a travesty.
Yep.
I don't care. The other judges, fine. If you saw that 3rd round as John and let's remember, guys, people forget this. The UFC used to have old rules. They adopted newer rules over the last year and a half, 2 years. Not all of the cities or commissions that they work with have adopted those rules. Houston, in Texas, just so happened to not adopt the new rules. That means they still count octagon control as a part of the fight. I'm not a fan of this. Octagon control basically means who is advancing the fight, who is controlling where the fight happens. Now, John was he was in the middle of the ring a lot.
Let me interrupt you real quick. What's
I don't see a tattoo.
Carlos Correa, you can kiss my ass.
What year is that?
This is 2019.
He didn't have a tattoo on July 29th, 2019. But when did that game happen? We need to get closer. Steven, thank you for that. That was great. But we need to get closer to November. That's what we need. I get it. That's from July 29, 2019. The time that we're talking about, when was the ALCS game? That was November.
No,
I'm sorry. October.
It had to be somewhere around Halloweenish.
So I would say second or third week. Let's try and go deeper if you can, and if not, we'll figure this out. But we need to go closer because that tattoo thing is bullshit. I do remember though, and this is why I remember, because remember when all those beach photos came out, and there were people when he originally came out and said, my wife doesn't like me to take my shirt off. There was 1,000 pictures that came up of him on the beach, and I do remember him having one here. Fine, but that's still a stupid excuse, and I don't really I can't jive with that, man. I can't do that. But
right.
but yeah,
but back to
sorry, yeah. So no,
the rules.
When it comes to the rules, Octagon Control was still a part of what Houston was looking at.
Right,
Octagon Control. There's some purists who watched that fight and said that John controlled the Octagon better than Dominic. I don't know what that means at the end of the day, because all I saw was Dominic advancing the fight, putting together combos, hitting John with some really nice ones. Now,
yes, he was.
Granted, in the first round, John was rolling with the punches a lot. So it was hitting, but it wasn't damaging, right?
Right.
Second round, Dom was hitting, and Dom was advancing. And clearly, I thought had a physical advantage over John in just being able, because let's remember, John really takes people down with no problem, and he did have a problem taking down Dom in this fight. So, but again, 3-2 is okay, fine. What I would say is this is a bigger indication that the MMA community right now is sick and tired of the boxing out of 10 judging standard. I don't know what it's called officially, but that the way that we judge MMA fights right now is a boxing thing.
Right.
The 10-9 system is a boxing system. We need to get away with that.
Yeah.
This isn't working as it's currently constructed, and one of the reasons why it isn't working as it's currently constructed is because every city you go to has a different commission. And Houston, by the way, was defending that guy, I think it was like Richard Solis or something like that, who did the 49-46, saying, well, this guy's a fighter, he's a martial artist, he deserves respect. I don't give a shit who he is.
Right.
I don't give a shit if it's Dana White's dad. I don't care. That was a shit decision and a shit judging card. If you looked at his judging card, it made no sense. He gave rounds 1 and 2, or no, I'm sorry. He gave round 2 and 3 to John and gave him a 10-9 at some point. Or a 10-8 at some point. That's so crazy in so many ways. And all I know is, what I will say is, I'm more impressed with Dom Reyes than anything. Very impressed with his performance. Very impressed with the way he handled it after the fight. A lot of guys, dude, in that situation would have flipped the fuck out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that would have been like, what? You told me I lost that? And he didn't, and I was proud of him for that.
And Dominic Reyes said something, and I'm 100% with him on this. He said, if John Bones Jones is taking me down, but I'm getting immediately back
That's
up.
not a takedown, yeah.
He's like, then what are you giving him points for?
Yeah.
Because
I agree with that.
He was 100% right. Because John Bones Jones, Dominic Reyes, first off, many a times was doing great takedown defense on John Bones Jones.
He stopped a couple of different approaches.
And then when John was actually getting him down, Reyes was getting right back up. So are we trying to say, oh, man, that was an impressive takedown? You didn't do anything. It could have been a slip, or maybe John showed some kind of skill, but he's bringing no damage, so he doesn't deserve any points.
Yeah.
So as you said earlier, if Bones Jones has to sell his fight to convince everyone that he won, he didn't win.
Yeah.
So that leads on to our next conversation. Because the last time we talking about, like, who's next for John Bones Jones, she goes to heavyweight. Let's go out and say it. If John Bones Jones decides to jump to heavyweight, I think it's going to be the worst decision he would make in his career. Because if you think for 1 second that you could pull that crap against like an Ngannou or a Derek Lewis or a Stipe, I'm not counting DC because you whooped his ass twice.
Yeah.
But some of these other bigger dudes, John Bones Jones' heavyweight career will end before it even starts.
Ngannou would have taken his head off with one of those.
All of those guys who are heavy-handed hitters. Because think about it like this, John Bones Joners. When's the last time John Bones Jones finished a guy off? If I heard correctly, and including this fight now, 7 of his last 9 fights have gone decisions.
Yeah.
He's not even really finishing the fight.
Yeah.
So either he's playing around with these guys or he's really, I guess, for what it's worth, maybe have lost a little bit of edge, and there's one guy that's going to finally beat him and clip him. And I always like talking parallels because the way Reyes was fighting last week in them first 2 rounds, I thought I almost was going to have to clip the part where I said that even though I thought Jones was going to win, my parallel between this fight and when Rampage beat Liddell, I thought I was almost on the money the way that Reyes was hitting him.
Yeah.
But John Bones Jones kind of weathered the storm.
He showed he had a chin for sure.
Exactly. And what I'm thinking right now is, here's my next parallel. How about when GSP fought Matt Hughes the second time? The first time they fought, Matt Hughes dominated the absolute business out of GSP.
Yeah, GSP
but when GSP came back and begged after he beat, I don't remember, and said I want another title shot, beasted Matt Hughes. And Matt Hughes was on top of his game when he was the UFC middleweight or welterweight champion.
Welterweight,
So that's my thing right now. I think if Reyes goes and fixes his cardio and goes at Jones a second time and realizes the mistakes he made, I don't think Bones Jones is ready for Reyes too. I just don't, and I don't think he's ready for the heavyweight division.
My problem with the way that we're talking about it now is, I think Dom won the fight. And, that's such, you took away a championship from somebody.
Yes.
And that is a huge fucking deal, especially when you're talking about John Jones. This is an undefeated fighter, by the way.
Yep.
This is a guy who's considered the GOAT.
Yep.
This is a guy who, by the way, was untouchable.
Yep.
By the way, the only reason, this people are saying this is either his worst or his second worst effort in his career. The other one being the first Gustafsson fight. By the way, during that Gustafsson fight, he was doing coke and partying every single night.
Right.
So that just goes to show that maybe you are onto something about Jones maybe slowing down a bit. I also was a little bit disappointed in the way John did media. When he was talking to Ariel Helwani, he was like talking about going up to heavyweight and talking about fighting Izzy in 2021. And it's like, dude, you are the light heavyweight champion and you've got a fight coming up. And you got a guy who you're overlooking. Like 90% of the interview wasn't even about Dom Reyes.
Right.
Like, man, one thing I will say is I didn't lose respect for John Jones, but I gained 99% respect for Dom Reyes because, again, he handled it really well. I thought he did media really well after that, too. He could have been mopey-dopey and been like, hey, you guys stole this from me. He didn't. He did a tremendous job of basically saying, I thought I won the fight.
Yep.
And
the takedown sentence.
Yep. And the worst part about the takedown stuff, by the way, is, listen, the definition of a takedown is, you're taking your opponent off his feet, but you're also keeping them there. That is the whole thing. Control. In MMA, it's about control. When you're grappling and you execute a takedown, if the opponent gets right back up, the official scorers can see that both ways. They can call that a takedown if they feel there was enough control. They can also feel that it wasn't a takedown. And honestly, I thought most of the groundwork that John did was insignificant. I didn't think he did enough on the ground to really make it look like Dom did any worse. And one thing I will say is Dom, in that rematch, will be ready, but he also has to realize that John is going to be better next time, and he's got to come with a little bit more grappling and a little bit. I think John looks stronger than him too.
Yeah.
that was another thing was Dom was hitting him with some very devastating shots.
Right.
But they weren't affecting him. And something tells me that, like you said, if an Ngannou, a Rosenstruik, a Stipe gets a four knuckle, Derek Lewis gets four knuckles on him like that, you might be looking at a good night. Yeah. So John's going to come out better, so will Dom. I'm hoping Dom gets that immediate rematch. Again, tonight we are going to see Jan Blachowicz versus Corey Anderson, Rockford's own Corey Anderson. So we'll see what happens with that one, because really what they're saying is if this is a big fight, because Blachowicz might be the guy.
Right.
Because he has a devastating left hand, and he can also grapple pretty well. So people think he's a pretty good matchup for John. But after this, why even fuck around?
Right.
Just give it to Dom. People want to see it. Let's be honest. I was scrolling through Twitter. By the way, my streams were fucking terrible that night. I don't know why. I don't purchase the fights. I don't give a fuck at this point. I don't purchase these fights. And my streams, for some reason, weren't working towards the end of the fight, and I had to rewatch the fight later, which thankfully I did. But I missed some of round 4 and the beginning of round 5. And what I was doing was I was checking through Twitter, and 90% of the people were saying Dom was winning that fight. So when he was saying he's a people's champ, he's right about that. I think a lot of people, including a lot of people who know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm not talking about casual fans. I'm not talking about these trolls on the internet. I'm talking about dudes who know what the fuck they're talking about, saying Dom Reyes won this fight. So, congrats to Dom Reyes. It's going to be a big year for him. He's going to get a rematch eventually. I hope it's immediate, though.
Yeah, me too. So I think, like I said, if I'm Dom, dude, I'm going in there. I'm going to take this little rest. I'm going to work on my cardio. Get my cardio up for the championship rounds if I don't knock his ass out in the first 3 rounds. And I think I personally think it's going to be a different fight. I really think this has a lot of GSP versus Matt Hughes too written just all over it.
And by the way, the judging was terrible all night.
Yeah, I heard the judging was absolutely awful in that fight.
There was 2 fights that I rewatched because my buddy sent me. He said, "Dude, you have to watch these fights because anybody, if you took your cousin who's never watched UFC,
right,
and you sat him down and you said, "Hey, dude, these 2 guys are going to fight, and you determine who wins this fight."
Right.
And you put that fight on, he's going to get that fight right.
Right.
The judges didn't. And that is super fucking insulting.
Yep.
And that's why Dana White, by the way, he's not shy. He's not shy about calling out people and calling out federations. He was surprisingly quiet about Houston. I don't know if he has some money tied in Houston or some, maybe wanted to come back to Houston. Maybe he made a lot of money off this event. But he was surprisingly mild on his response. You're used to him going, "Fuck these guys.
Yep.
These guys fucking suck. We're out of here." He was like, "Well, I thought it was a close fight." By the way, it was a fucking close fight, but that doesn't excuse the shitty judging. I'm just saying right now, Dana usually has a little bit more fire under him, and this time it was kind of like, it is what it is. Dom will get back there. And apparently, right now they're promoting this Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero fight pretty hard right now. Dude, this is getting better and better. This fight, because they did the face off and they both had a dance off and everything like that. Now apparently they're saying that Yoel is like basically hell bent on, he wants to fight until he's 55 and he's gonna show that you can be
Oh God,
okay,
everybody says that.
Let's see.
Not everybody can be Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker, eating 2 vegan meals a day. Listen, dude, this guy Yoel Romero is a fucking animal. There's no doubt about it. The reason why Israel Adesanya asked for him is because nobody wants to fight him, and I respect Izzy for that. But also, there was a sense of like, does Izzy know something we don't know? Let's get this easy win against Yoel Romero real quick. And because remember, Izzy is a very smart guy.
Right.
He already said he's going to fight John Jones in 2021. He said he knows he's going to fight in Vegas in the new Raider Stadium. He said, "I seen it in my dreams. We're going to be fighting there." And another thing now he's saying is that, basically he wants to have at least 5 defenses in both the welterweight and the light heavyweight. We'll see. Right now, I'm glad you said it. John's focus should be on light heavyweight. Izzy's focus should be on welterweight, and let's stay in our divisions. Let's, the whole double champ thing really was cool for a little while. Now it's like, dude, you're ruining the UFC.
You ain't lying, because then you get guys like Cejudo.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who wins the double championship, claims he wants Uriah Faber money, idiot, and then ends up relinquishing one of the belts because he couldn't find a fight for it. Like, stop it, dude.
Yeah, and Henry, man, the problem with that is, listen, Henry is a guy who came from nothing. He was an Olympian, we get it, but his first 5 fights in the UFC, he was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was. He wasn't actually that good. I remember one fight he had against Mighty Mouse, and Mighty Mouse just made him look bad in like 30 seconds. Now, of course, he won the rematch with Mighty Mouse, and good for him. But Henry got rich, and he got these promotions, and now he's got, oh my God, I can do this. He's literally touring the world, making money that way.
Right.
I'm wondering if Henry even really cares about fighting that much anymore. Because again, dude, we have to remember, like, the Masvidal thing is a perfect example of it. Masvidal and Kamaru Usman, are you really jumping out of your seat to watch that one? It's going to be a good fight. Fine. There's thousands of good fights a year. But to me, when you're talking about Masvidal, yeah, you wanted somebody like McGregor. You wanted somebody, because I get it, it's a money thing, but at the same time, like, it's a interesting fight. I'm interested in the Usman fight and Masvidal fight in my own selfish reasons, because I think it's a really good matchup, a grappler versus a boxer.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I very much see that this fight is going to be like, bell rings, Usman goes right for the takedown and is going to try and hold Masvidal down for as long as possible. And to me, there's that sort of goes into what McGregor and Masvidal call, crotch hugging. Oh, you're crotch hugging too much. This isn't fighting. Dude, at the end of the day, this is MMA, dude. We have to get used to this. If you can't defend the takedown, or if you can't take down, if you can't grapple, you're not going to make it in MMA. Simple as that.
These double leg pickup takedowns leading into
overhead.
I know, over here leading to freaking triangle chokes with legs and stuff.
By the way, we just missed an amazing fight, or we were watching it, but Lando Venata versus Yancy Medeiros, it was a slobber fest. It was really good, and I think Lando Venata came out a groovy Lando Venata.
And then we're also watching the skills challenge, and Bam Adebayo ends up winning the skills challenge, beating out Domantas Sabonis. Domantas,
big man.
2 big guys at that. 'Cause I remember when the skills challenge was really
only
like
point guards.
Strictly point guards, and now all of a sudden, we're now living in the NBA where the NBA has changed colors when Andre Drummond is really trying to shoot threes.
Yeah, I know, man. And he's not very good.
He's
still not very good at it. He's been practicing that and still not good at it.
Hell no. He's freaking garbage. So, I mean, there's really not so much to talk about when it comes to the NBA. You said, it is All-Star Weekend, so it's been kind of slow. As time goes on, the NBA, came and went, so that's gone. The trade deadline,
the deadline's gone.
We're really just waiting on the second half of the season. We're just kind of enjoying everything, as we mentioned earlier. Kobe his name is now being put on the All-Star Game MVP festivities for that. So, and right now, I think they're going to the three-point contest, which should be amazing.
And I think they adapted the new rules this year too. That tell you about that. They're adding like a 4-point. They're adding one that's from like the logo.
Yeah.
So I think they're adopting this one. So we'll see, because I think Zach LaVine's in this, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think he is too.
Should be a nice one.
Which is weird. I don't know why he wouldn't go up against Aaron Gordon.
And then I read something, but I'm always skeptical to trust some of these fucking websites and some of these blogs, because they're all just clickbaity, and they want to just basically get you to click on the article, and then they lied about it basically. But I read something that they were like that the NBA was going to try and surprise the crowd, and Zach LaVine was going to be a 5th contestant. I highly doubt that's going to happen, especially because there's a lot of clearances you have to do to even do this. And then there was that video of him trying the 360 dunk from the free throw line. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So he tried a free throw line dunk as a 360. He barely missed it, but he looked like he probably could have made it happen if he practiced a couple more times. So I hope. Here's to a hopeful surprise, because I would love for him to surprise us and get into the dunk contest.
So I already mentioned that the Rangers are in Chicago on Wednesday when we Peter slapped the Blackhawks
Into
all
the
up
trade
and
deadline.
down. It was
You're gonna
Peter
force
slapped
us-
them dead into the trade deadline.
Force us to trade some players.
Really hoping that Igor Shesterkin. Well, the jersey I have on right now is the King, but there's no telling how much longer he's going to be a Ranger, whether it be him being traded or him just because the Rangers put themselves in a predicament because it's either you have to trade. You're either going to have to trade Henry, and then you may end up losing Georgiev in the expansion draft when Seattle comes around.
Seattle. Do we have a name for them, by the way? Is it Kraken?
I think
I
they're known
saw
as
that
the
it was going to be
Kraken.
Seattle Kraken.
That's what I thought. I thought I read that
That's
too.
interesting, but okay.
So we might end up losing those two, or you're just gonna have to lose. You're just gonna have to keep 3 goalies or trade Georgiev, because word on the street is Florida could really use a goalie as they try to make a push into the playoffs. And the Rangers have potentially 2 that's available. And I'm sure that Jeff Gordon's going to want a first-round draft pick. Preferably, if you're going to trade Georgiev, you might get a first. If it's Henrik, you might get a third or a fourth because he's got a $9.5 million cap hit. So we'll see what happens with that. Plus, there's all the Kreider trade talks. Is that going to happen? Is that not going to happen? I mentioned to you earlier that the Rangers have won 4 games in a row, one which included a win against the Minnesota Wild where they were up 3-1. Minnesota was, and the Rangers came back and beat them 4-3 in a shootout, which then led to the firing of Bruce Boudreau.
Shocking firing the next morning, and Boudreau is very well respected in the league too, and that was pretty crazy because let's be honest, Minnesota, same thing. It's like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah. Like
always very close but never quite there, and they can't afford to be mediocre anymore. I mean, let's be honest, they had those years where they always ran into the Blackhawks or either the Penguins or the Blackhawks or somebody along those lines. You're gonna have to, if you are in the NHL now, you're gonna have to move quick, and that's why the Blackhawks are in such a shitty position right now. It's because they're not bad enough to dismantle everything, but they're not quite good enough to do anything in reality. So you're hoping that they trade Corey Crawford, maybe trade a guy here or there, but that's not quite there. So, I kind of respect Minnesota. They're like, all right, this isn't working. We're done. And bye Bruce Boudreau.
Bye Bruce Boudreau. Steven tells me that word on the street is that the organization is going to buy out Henrik Lundqvist in June. I can see that happening. And if that's the case and they do end up doing that, that then frees up money to keep Chris Kreider in New York. So I think if the Rangers didn't catch some heat, we would have seen Chris Kreider gone. I'm thinking that, once again, they're going to want a first-round draft pick because think about it like this. Last year, the Rangers traded Kevin Hayes to Winnipeg for their first-round draft pick. They then turned around and re-gifted the pick right back to Winnipeg for Jacob Trouba. So, I'm just trying to see what the direction of Jeff Gordon and JD is right now, but I'm the one that trusts the process. And I've always kept saying that the Rangers, knowing these guys, are a solid 5 to 8 game winning streak away. They're there. They're on the cusp of being there. And I think now is the time. Yeah. And, it depends on how they play against Boston tomorrow afternoon. The Rangers can always surprise Boston here and there. Plus, you got Yaroslav Halak, who he could either be feast or famine, and hoping the Rangers tomorrow catch him on his famine side and they just light his ass up so they can come to Chicago on a 5-game winning streak where I will be wearing this jersey yet again to show because I got this jersey, as a matter of fact, I found one of those websites where you get it from China. Actually, this is not what I asked for, but it's just what I kept. What I had asked for at the time was a white Rick Nash jersey because Rick Nash was the alternate captain at the time, and they just gave me this one. And I was like, well, son of a bitch. And I was like, this is not the one I wanted, but I kept it. I just rocking with it. My personal favorite one is actually the Ranger that used to have the Statue of Liberty head.
Oh, yeah. That was dope. Yeah, that was dope,
too.
yeah.
So what I'm thinking about doing is I might end up getting me a blue Shesterkin jersey,
I thought you were gonna say
a
Panarin.
white Panarin jersey,
okay, yeah.
and then I'm gonna find me one of them Chinese companies, and I realize I can only do it in China because every time I put Oso Negro as a one on my back,
they don't allow
they
it,
won't
yeah.
allow
They
it
won't allow it,
because
yeah.
they think I'm saying Negro. No, I'm saying
Negro.
Negro. That's black and Spanish.
Come on.
Come on, man.
By the way, they do have the new rules this year, so they're showing it right now. It's corner, which is 22 feet, the wings, which is 23, and then the do zone, which is basically from the logo at 29 feet.
The do zone.
The do zone. Anything to make money. Mountain Dew's like, hey, here's $35 million. Can we get the new shot to be the do shot, DEW? And NBA's like, what? $35 million? Yeah, of course. What? We'll change whatever you want. Give us whatever. Like, come on, the NBA, we're getting desperate here. Yeah. So by the way, one rack on each side, and then those ones from the logo will count for 3.
Steven just gave me Yaroslav Halak's stats against the Rangers in his career. He's 21-8-1 with a goal against average of 2.48.
Oh, jeez.
And his save percentage is 0.924.
That record isn't bad though. I mean,
hell no, it's not, man. But hopefully we'll make it 21-9-1 tomorrow. Last thing I kind of want to talk about, and as I mentioned, this is kind of a short show with football not being around anymore.
Yeah.
It's actually
it's All-Star Weekend too.
It's
like,
All-Star Weekend, so there's not
about.
much NBA to talk about. We pretty much talk about the MLB stuff, and then we'll be starting our spring. I'll just go ahead and announce it. We might as well just go ahead and start spring training next week.
Yeah.
We'll start in National League because we're both AL fans, and I'd love to say the best for last.
Let's get the NL
So let's get the NL out of the way because as far as I'm concerned, it's boring as piss anyway.
Same thing we think about.
That's
AFC.
another thing I wanted to bring up. I'm glad I brought this up because I wasn't done really with Rob Manfred. But I was talking to you that I was listening to Paul LaDuca.
Yeah.
Talking, ripping Rob Manfred for what he did and what he did to Steve Cohen with the Mets.
Yeah.
Because I guess the issue is that the Wilpons kind of screwed Steve Cohen over in this deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why Rob Manfred is catching so much heat is because Manfred defended the Wilpons,
right.
Even though the Wilpons were in the wrong for what happened. He went and defended the Wilpons, which then now just smeared the reputation of Steve Cohen, kind of like what they did with Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
When Mark Cuban wanted to buy the Cubs, and then for some reason the deal fell through, and now everyone made Mark Cuban to be this POS.
Yeah.
When in hindsight, it was Wrigley that really screwed it up, and all of a sudden, for some reason, the good old boy baseball club didn't want Mark Cuban to be an owner. Why? Because he was actually going to care for the Cubs and actually
put money into
it and make Wrigley feel look beautiful. I'm not saying the Ricketts haven't done it, but at the same time, I've kind of heard that, I'm pretty sure that the Ricketts would not have made this marquee network that they're starting. I mean, not the Ricketts, but Mark Cuban. I'm pretty sure he would have kept the tradition alive that's in what you call it.
And there's no telling how many fans are going to lose their access to the Cubs. By the way, you got to remember, WGN is the Cubs.
Yep.
Like, even people were really mad when the White Sox were allowed to be shown on WGN.
That's true.
Because it is the Cubs. And they're no longer on WGN. And I don't think they're even going to be on Comcast Sportsnet anymore.
I don't think so
It's going to be just strictly Marquee Sports Network. So good luck with that, Cubs fans. But this whole Steve Cohen thing, Rob Manfred was basically saying that Steve Cohen was he was strong-arming the Wilpons into a sale. And that the structure of the deal would have left Cohen with too much power at the end of the day. Listen, dude, you own a fucking baseball team. Either you own it and you're powerful or you're not. So it's like you can't say Rob Manfred, by the way, clearly has a affinity for the Wilpons because he did go out of his way to sort of trash Cohen and basically say that he didn't go about it the right way. And next thing you know now, the deal isn't happening, and apparently the Mets are getting a little bit desperate now and starting to branch out. Apparently, they were saying they didn't want to consider foreign owners. Now they're saying, oh, maybe we will consider foreign owners. So we'll see. Clearly, there's a little bit of a weirdness with Rob Manfred of the Mets right now.
Yeah, a whole lot of weirdness. And now Steven is saying that now Alex Rodriguez thinks that he might be interested in trying to buy the New York Mets himself. So
how much money does he have?
I don't know, dude. A-Rod might have billions, dude.
Do you think he has bees now?
I think he might be in
him and Jennifer, like, let's pool this money together and get ourselves a baseball team.
Man, but you know what though? See, and once again, like I said last week, I just feel so bad for the Mets and their fans because they were really expecting that money from Cohen because Cohen was finna open up the check.
Yeah.
He was going to start spending some
bets
bread.
and
probably get Mookie Betts, get him an outfielder to pair Mookie up with Pete Alonso, Jack McNeil, and all these.
They're going to have money coming off the books, too, in the next 2 years. I mean, the Cespedes stuff is already.
His contract is up after
Robinson
this year.
Cano, I believe, is in 2 years or something. So, at the end of the day right now, the Mets, they have a decent team, but just imagine what they could do if they had fuck you money, right? And they could just go out and spend, which right now, clearly the Wilpons, the Wilpons really clearly don't give a fuck about baseball.
No.
They just are like actual owners. Like, listen, I'm in this to make money, bro. Like, I put in millions of dollars into this. I want to make money, and that's fine. But baseball fans don't want to hear that shit.
Right.
Like, why? I can't tell you how many White Sox fans abso-fucking-lutely hate Jerry Reinsdorf, and it's for little to no reason other than the fact that he likes the Bulls.
Right.
And that he, was kind of like he put a lot of resources into the Bulls championships, and when the White Sox won in 2005, he stopped with the White Sox. And at the end of the day, though, I think you'll see now, and especially after this offseason, that clearly Jerry Reinsdorf cares about the White Sox, and he did take out the pocketbook, and that just goes to show that, especially in baseball. By the way, the White Sox are in the same market as the Cubs, and yet the Cubs were always sort of notoriously 10 or 15 spots ahead of them when it comes to profitability.
Right.
And, a lot of that doesn't have to do with the ownership, but what you saw was, and this is what I was trying to explain to White Sox fans this year, is people were like, well, why didn't we spend 3 years ago and last year we could have got Bryce Harper and this, and we could, and I said, listen, the White Sox wouldn't be able to make this offseason happen without all of that empty payroll the last 2 or 3 years. So you're as a White Sox fan, that's why you should be really excited about this year and be all in about this year, because not saying all in as in like, championship or bust, but we should be really holding our team accountable to be a very good team this year. And that's because they did go out and spend the money. And the White Sox now do have a lot of, they do have a lot of firepower to work with. But now the excuses are gone. And same thing with the Mets now. You saw what happened last year where they were out of it for so long and then found their way back into the race. And this year they're going to have higher expectations for the team.
Steven says J-Lo would buy it, not A-Rod. A-Rod be little man. I don't know about that, dude. A-Rod's got bread.
A-Rod does have bread.
He's got
dude.
some bread.
I think he's still isn't he still getting paid from some of that Rangers stuff that he had to defer? So yeah,
I think so.
He's getting paid.
I wanted to kind of just jump a little bit. First, let's jump into the XFL before I have
let's talk about
NFL notes. I know last week I said that I thought I cracked the key in my pocket. Last week I said that like the XFL was kind of just like minor league football from what I really watched on Saturday, but the Sunday games seemed to be just a tad bit more entertaining than the Saturday games. But you know what? After hearing everyone talk, I think a lot of people. Okay, so this what happened.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the first time the XFL came out, Vince McMahon and all these guys were so gung-ho.
This is the XFL. He almost had a brain aneurysm on that one. Now I still remember that.
To be so much better than the NFL.
Yeah.
He was fighting. It was David versus Goliath.
It was, yeah.
In a sense where, because Vince McMahon has never been David in his life.
No.
Never been David in his life. He's always been Goliath.
Right.
So he tried to play the role of David in this. He was David in this one, and clearly the lead in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So one of the things that a lot of people have said that they liked about this XFL is that they just went out and just kind of did their own thing. Where, okay, there's a lot of people that really like the kickoff rule, where
I do too.
you got certain people at certain lines, and anyone can't move until the ball is touched. Stuff.
It's
People love that.
basically the receiving team and the kicking team are within 5 yards of each other.
Right.
The kicker's kicking from the normal spot, but the coverage team is all the way on the other side of the field, and basically nobody can move until the guy gets or the receiver gets the ball. I love it. I think it's going to avoid all these really nasty injuries that we're seeing from high impact, running down the field and then having to slam somebody. I love it.
Yeah.
And they're trying other things, like you said, trying broadcast things, trying things where they interview people on the sidelines right at, stuff like that is cool. Like, I didn't want them to just be like the AFL was so like, all right, we're minor league NFL, right? And this is just kind of like, no, we're our own thing. This is what we do.
Right.
I like the personality aspect. I like some of the things that they have where, by the way, every single person on the field has a microphone or has a speaker in the helmet. I think the NFL should go to that.
I think so too.
I don't think there's a reason why only one person on defense should have a headset on. That's stupid to me.
Yeah.
You should be able to hear. And by the way, I think the quarterback is allowed to hear. I believe the quarterback and the head coach or the offensive coordinator are allowed to talk for longer in the XFL too, and the microphone is on longer. So I like these things, and I think the NFL has a good opportunity here to use the XFL as sort of like a guinea pig for some of their ideas.
Yep. I'm with you 100% on that. So that's kind of why I took out the XFL. I know they had a couple games today. I was at work. No way I was going to be able to watch them, but if I'm around at home tomorrow and it's on, I'll give it another shot. It does seem like it's decent because they're doing their own thing and not trying to go up against the giant when you can't beat the NFL.
Yeah.
But you're like, you know what? Let's give the fans a decent product for them to watch and be able to enjoy. And it looks like it's off to a pretty decent start.
And clearly Vince is spending fucking money on this because the ESPN, by the way, I haven't seen ESPN plastered with XFL or anything like this since the UFC jumped on board.
Yep.
Like XFL on every fucking ESPN channel now, and that takes money. You know, that takes money. The ESPN is not doing that for free.
Right.
That's because the XFL said we know we have to legitimize ourselves over the next year. We have to show people, because one of the big things that people are skeptical about is like, fine, play your game. Will you be around next year?
Right.
I'm not going to join. Like, nobody's going to say, I love the Chicago Marauders. Like, if you're only there for 1 year,
right.
I'm not going to, no.
That's what I'm on right now.
Show me that you can sustain this, and maybe I'll be a fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like, I've been, like, invited in groups, like, come join the love of the
New York what?
New York Guardians.
And are they the ones by Mark Trestman? Please.
No.
No, okay. Because
I think that's the... Is it the Tampa team?
He's a green. I think
it is.
I saw a video of Mark Trestman giving a halftime speech. I've never in my life, because I'm the type of person, like, I feel physical pain from cringy things like that.
Right.
Like, when something's so cringy and awkward, I literally feel physical pain. And I felt physical pain when his team was getting their asses kicked. He went into the locker room at halftime. And by the way, I can't imagine being a Bears player and having this fucking clown be your coach. But this is the XFL, and the faces of those players as they're looking at this fucking middle-aged white man from Canada talk about, guys, we'll stay together and we'll be all right. Everything will be fine. And I just need to see more effort in offense. This starts with you, all right? And then everyone just looking around like, oh my God, just give me my paycheck. I want to go fuck. Because again, let's remember, This is a league of cast-offs. Guys who weren't good enough in the NFL, or guys that had something that happened in the NFL or in college that they weren't able to make it happen injury-wise, and now do have a shot. So what I will say is the real big thing about the XFL is, like, they're gonna legitimize this thing.
Right.
Let's see. I mean, Vince might be. He's always had that crazy like a fox type thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you never fucking know what he's doing, and then next thing you know, you're like, that was not that wasn't bad, Vince. So
right.
We'll see, because clearly, let's be honest, From what I've heard, and maybe you can correct me, he's sort of separated himself from a lot of the WWE stuff, and he's still pumping money and still pumping his opinion in there, but it's not like it was in the 90s, in the early 2000s, where this guy was literally in every single meeting.
There's some truth to that.
You know, because from what I hear, you know, he used to be in every single fucking meeting. You couldn't get him out of the creative meeting, couldn't get him out of the production meeting, because he was just so involved.
Right.
And now, you know, obviously Triple H and some of these other guys that are a part of the WWE have helped, lighten the load. But Vince clearly, you know, he sees an interest in this XFL thing, and nothing is more powerful than a guy with fuck you money, and that's what Vince has.
Yes. So I want to talk a little bit NFL.
Okay.
And my dumb ass has been. I'm so glad Steven's listening. Been kicking the tires a little bit.
Okay. I saw your face. Please tell me does this have to do with my guy? Okay, let's talk about it. Go ahead. Let's do a mock GM negotiations here, okay?
So there has been a rumor that was going around that the Chicago Bears had talks with the Washington Redskins about potentially trading Khalil Mack to the Redskins for the number 2 overall pick. I then turned around and went on record of saying that if the Bears and Redskins, if that deal fell through, that if I was Tampa Bay, I would kick the tires about trading the number 14 pick for Khalil Mack.
Okay.
Of course, Bear fans
went crazy
without question starts going off.
Well, first of all, let me say I was pissed off when I first saw that report about the Redskins stuff.
Yes.
First of all, it was another one of those cases where is this real?
Right.
And then when I verified that there was some, legitimacy to this rumor, I started to figure out, well, who the fuck would they even think about at number 2? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what was in my head. And apparently this is about assets, and the Bears are saying no, we're going to be getting rid of the deal or getting rid of his deal because now. Let's remember, you could afford Khalil Mack because you had Mitch Trubisky.
Right.
When you have Mitch Trubisky and your starting quarterback is getting 4 or 5 years of decent money, not the $35 million that we're going to be used to seeing soon, you have the luxury of having a Khalil Mack on your team. Now that you may have to go out and get a quarterback, you might not have that luxury. And the Bears, like I said, we've said it again and again, they're going to have cap issues this year. They're going to have to find a way to get rid of some dead cap. And at the same time right now, Khalil Mack is the most valuable player on your team. So, it makes sense, but at the same time, I think a lot of that frustration about what you're talking about just has to do with the fact that we're talking about trading this guy in the first place.
Yep.
Like, why? This guy is still clearly amazing. He's going to have, I guarantee you, if no matter what team he's on next year, he's going to have an amazing season because it takes... And I think Akeem Hicks obviously had a lot to do with it, not being around, Roquan Smith not being around. But when remember, those first 3 games of the season, that Bears defense was fucking nasty. It's just that the offense couldn't do anything. But that Bears defense was nasty, and so was Mac. So I think a lot of that frustration had to do with that. But yeah, so you're thinking right now, all right, let's jump, let's kind of get into the mix here. 14. What else you want us to give you Khalil Mack for 14 is what you're saying.
If we traded the 13th overall pick for the best cover shutdown corner in all of football.
Was that Revis?
That was Darrelle Revis back in 2000.
Bubba the Bum.
What is this, 1920? It had to be either 13 or 14 maybe?
Yeah.
Because the Jets took that 13th pick and drafted Sheldon Richardson from Missouri.
Missouri, Zach LaVine is up on the 3-point contest.
So I'm saying the Bucks should kick the top because, first off, Bruce Arians came out and said that he wants to keep the defense solidified.
Yeah, he doesn't care about who his quarterback is. Okay,
so he don't care about who his QB is. So he wants to keep the defense solidified. What I was thinking about was, let me look at San Francisco.
Yeah.
San Francisco's got Nick Bosa. It's got Solomon Thomas. It's got Quan. It's got D
Ford.
Yeah. It's got
Buckner.
DeForest Buckner. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Solid, right? Solid front seven.
There's like 4 first-round picks there.
Now, what if Tampa Bay went out and traded the number 14 pick for the Chicago Bears because the Bears are desperate to be in the first round and they want to get out of Khalil Mack's contract?
Yeah.
Well, let me look at the front seven for Tampa Bay if that's the case. You're going to give me Khalil Mack, arguably one of the best defensive or 3-4s in the game. So then you're going to give me I got Levante David, still one of the better linebackers in the game. I got Devin White that just came in and just snapped off after he got healthy. I got Shaq Barrett that's finna get re-signed. It's got 19 and a half sacks. I got the Samoan Bulldozer Vita Vea in the front. Sue may not come back.
Okay.
I've been hearing some rumors that Sue, for as great as a player as he is not really that cool of a dude outside
in the locker room. Yeah, I mean,
so that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So maybe they get rid. They partner themselves away from Sue. Okay, I'll work with that. Then you're gonna give me William Golson on the other side. Now the only thing that sucks about me making this deal is that we still don't know what's gonna happen with Jameis. But here's the thing. This is the plea that I give the Bucs fans.
Okay.
I was talking to one of my good Buccaneer brothers. His name is Rob Frommer. And him and I were talking, and I've made this comment to him before, that when it comes to talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's one of the only people that I like really talking to because all my other Buccaneers brothers fly off the handle every time something goes bad. Okay? When Bruce Arians came out and said that of the 30 interceptions that Jameis has thrown, I will probably give him credit for 17 of them. According to Rob, one of his buddies actually went, there's a video that goes around that actually it's still probably going around, of all 30 interceptions that Jameis threw this year. If you actually sat and watched that video, Bruce Arians is onto something. I can't tell you the countless times of how many of them interceptions, O.J. Howard, where the ball went right off his hands and into another defender.
Brashad Perriman stopped running the route. There was even a couple where Mike Evans was like,
Stop running routes. Chris Godwin slipped.
Or he's fresh off a drop, and next thing you know, he's frustrated and stops on his route. And
Bingo. Bingo. So I'm not saying Jameis is off the hook. I'm just saying all 30 interceptions ain't his fault. But here's Bucs fans. Oh, you guys are just making excuses. Aaron, this is my personal favorite. Well, Aaron Rodgers only threw 3 interceptions in this entire season. Aaron Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl ring, 1 Super Bowl appearance. You know what other team has 1 Super Bowl ring and 1 Super Bowl appearance? It happens to be the team that's on my head. So if you want to keep coming out here and trying to sell to me how the great almighty Aaron Rodgers is so much of a better quarterback based on stats, I'm trying to look at results. Because what I don't want Tampa Bay to be is that flash in the pan team. I just don't want to bring in Tom Brady so we can end our 12-year drought streak because I don't blame Bucs fans for saying this. Be like, well, I'm sick and tired of us not making the playoffs.
Yeah, we all are.
But at the same time, like look at it like this. If you're the Bears, the Bears were in the playoffs for a little bit. But then they went out and made moves and got Khalil Mack and Mitchell Trubisky was on top of the team.
They sucked for 2 or 3 years.
And I'm saying, when they got Mack.
Yeah.
Right. Think about it like that. They sucked for a while. They draft, was it Roquan?
It was Roquan,
And then they drafted
and that was the year they got Mack as well. So Roquan was a rookie last year, and they get Khalil. And believe me, years prior, 2 or 3 years prior, when John Fox was around, there was no end in sight. There was no playoffs in sight.
Right.
And next thing you know, you make a move here or there, and you find yourself in the conversation. And let's remember, nobody was really expecting the Bears to be much last year anyways.
Exactly.
They were just expecting them to take a step up, and they ended up taking a bigger step than people realized.
And my thing is this. My thing is we could be the Bears if you want to be real about it.
Yeah.
Because, as you just mentioned, let's go back a couple years. People didn't think that the Bears were going to be, what were they, 11-5, 12-4, whatever it was? People didn't think they was going to be that.
Yeah.
They were one double doink away from they were one double doink away from advancing into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But a lot of people believe that team could have went as far as to the Super Bowl if Cody Parkey makes that kick.
Yeah.
And they missed the playoffs last year. That's not what I want Tampa to be. I want Tampa to be that team from '96 to when they went to and won the Super Bowl in the 02-03 season. They were in the playoffs every year. I want to build dynasties.
Yeah.
I want a team to have consistency.
Right.
I don't want the quick fix on what could be in a big time bad problem.
Yeah.
So then let's focus on Jameis Winston, because Jameis Winston earlier this week went on and got LASIK surgery, and I knew that something was up because and you guys can point out every meme in the world, and it is what it is. But from his sophomore year until he got the LASIK surgery, Jameis Winston was always squinting.
Always squinting.
He was always squinting. Every time he looked at the scoreboard, he was always squinting. And let me tell you this, and all jokes aside, and like I told Rob, you know what? I'm a diehard Florida State fan. I love Jameis Winston. I've been Jameis Winston's fan since he threw his first completion against the Pitt Panthers way back in 2013. I've been a fan of him ever since. And I want to see him succeed on my favorite football team. I think this is it, because if you looked at Jameis when he was wearing those medicated visors, Jameis was balling.
Was that when you mean the clear medical
visor? And you can tell that it was medical because it wasn't like when Phillip Rivers, I know, wears a visor. Yeah, you can tell it's just like clear. Maybe he doesn't like stuff in his face.
It's just so nobody hits him in the face, in the eyes. Yeah.
But in what's his name's case, in Jameis's case, you can tell that there's some kind of glare in front that will let you know that it's kind of like it's a vision visor, for a lack of a better way of putting it. If this LASIK surgery really goes well, and his problem was that maybe he wasn't seeing those linebackers because he was notorious for throwing the ball to the linebackers, a la Darius Leonard, a la, I think it was Jared Mayo, he threw the 1-2 in Detroit, a la the one against Atlanta that had him lose, a la the some of the bad interceptions he threw against Houston.
He had a couple with defensive linemen that were like close too as well.
You feel what I'm saying?
Seems like underneath it's tough for him to see.
I feel, in my personal opinion, and he got his knee scoped, this is that time where I have to say that the Bucs either needs to tag Jameis.
They better. I mean, they can't let him walk, right? Like, you can't let him walk.
Because here's the thing, dude. You can't make Buc fans happy because if you you're not going to get Justin Herbert. He's gone at 6. You're not going to get Joe Burrow, even though that I caught wind that there might have been a little bit of legitimacy that the Bucs were going to sell the farm to move all the way from 14-1 to go get Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
And I thought it was fake, but word on the street is it may not have been that fake. You were going to have to give up a king's ransom to get him, but
are we talking just a bunch of picks?
I'm talking about this first round, next year's first round, maybe even second round.
Robert
picks.
Griffin type.
You feel what I'm saying? Some RG3 type deal to drive from 14-1 to draft Joe Burrow.
That'd be a ballsy fucking move.
It would be a ballsy move. But my thing was the question I asked was, how can this team get better? Because Tom Brady is a quick fix. Word on the street is that the Oakland Raiders, wow, I'm an idiot.
We're going to keep going Oakland
the Vegas Raiders want to offer Tom Brady 2 years for $60 million. I don't want Tom Brady. That's a quick fix.
Even people talk about Phillip Rivers to the Buccaneers. Like,
bingo.
Why?
The only thing you want to do if you're Tampa Bay, you have to find someone to push Jameis,
right,
and let him know that if you mess up, I'm taking your ass out.
Andy Dalton, great
Andy Dalton would be a good one, and I'll give you another one. Word on the street, and there's a lot of people that are saying this, but I think that they're that the Bucs might try and trade back into the first round to get that kid Jordan Love out of Nevada that everyone seems to be in love with.
Yeah, he shot up boards over the last couple of weeks too.
And he must have had a really good Senior Bowl. And he must have had.
There's always that one guy. There's always that one guy every year that surprises every. It was Josh Allen that one year. Remember, Josh Allen came out of nowhere. He was like, oh my god, he went to, where did he go to school again? Wyoming, and nobody really even saw him coming. And next thing you know, I mean, the guy's a competent NFL quarterback.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying right now, the end all be all, because we saw a lot of improvements in Tampa.
Yeah.
We saw Shaq get the 19.5 sacks, but how about Carlton Davis III? How about Jordan Whitehead? How about after Jamel Dean got cooked by Seattle that entire game, how great he was towards the end of the season? How about those guys? That secondary starting to gel. It's starting to get better. It's starting to improve. So I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I'm not ready to get rid on Jameis Winston. I would give him a 3-year deal, hopefully somewhere that's not making him broke, that's not undervalued. Because if Jameis is asking for 30, they're going to easily say, dude, you turned the ball over 30 sometimes.
Turn the ball over
you're
30 times.
You're not going to get $30 million.
Yeah.
At the same breath, though, don't be cheap and be like, well, we'll give you 20. No, that's BS.
No, I can't do that.
So
and he's not going to take a home, quote-unquote, home discount.
At least not that big. No. At least not that big.
Maybe 27.
27, 25,
fine,
no lower than 25.
Or honestly, dude, I think it might be best for both parties that he gets tagged. The reason for that is this. The Bucs get another year to figure out what they're getting. And Jameis gets another year to prove he's not just another turnover machine.
True.
Because we know that this guy can be a game breaker.
Right.
We know that this guy can take over games and take over seasons if he wants to. But he just turns over the ball too much.
Right.
Now we need to figure out whether or not it really was a vision issue or if it really was that his knee was no good. And at the end of the day, I think the best way to do is just to have that 1-year trial. Everybody does better on contract years. But at the same time, if you're the Bucs, you're not willing to commit even an inch to him, which I don't blame them. I like the way that Bruce has come out and been very strong. Like people were giving him shit about saying, I don't care who my quarterback is. He came out and said, I don't care who my quarterback is. I want my defense to be good first and this and this and that. And people were saying, oh, that's not good. That's not an endorsement for Jameis. No, I take that as like, dude, I don't care. Like, as a coach, I'm here to get this team winning. And if I have to have a Brad Johnson quarterback to do it, then I'll do that.
Right.
And I think that's what he means. I think what he's saying is like you're already seeing it from Anthony Lynn. Lynn was asked, oh man, what are you guys gonna do with Phillip Rivers gone? He's like, dude, I think I have a starter if I want to. I have Tyrod Taylor sitting there. I think Tyrod Taylor can be just as good for us, if not better than Phillip was. And people were giving him shit for that. Well, of course he's gonna say that because first of all, Phillip Rivers is no longer on the team.
Right.
And second of all, he still he has a quarterback on the team, and his name is Tyrod Taylor. So, teams right now, that's why people were giving me shit because I told them that the Bears shouldn't be prioritizing quarterback. I still don't believe that. I don't think you should be going after a quarterback over a cornerback. I don't think you should be going after a quarterback over a strong safety. I don't think you should be going after a quarterback other than, trying to add to get a tight end, help out on the receiving core. Like, we have so many big things that people think, oh, I don't want a quarterback. No, I want one. I don't want to prioritize one over one of the many needs we have when we've made it very clear we're going to try this whole Mitch Trubisky thing out next year.
Right.
So, I don't know, man.
Like, because it's so funny to me because, you get these guys like Ryan Pace. Look at Deshaun Watson. Ryan!
I know.
Look at Mahomes.
Yeah.
Here's your first problem. If you honestly think that Patrick Mahomes was going to succeed with this receiving core, with this tight end core, with
offensive
this
line,
running core,
oh my God,
with this offensive line, Bears fans smoke crack. Okay? Do you know how much speed that Patrick Mahomes had that he could make those plays?
He could literally just throw the ball, huck the ball, and somebody will go get it.
Sammy's like 4'4".
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Even Hardman's like 4'2", and he was their third receiver.
And Travis Kelce, I saw a picture the other day. All this talk about, well, who's better between George Kittle and Travis Kelce? Dude, Travis Kelce had like 14 catches in the playoffs. George Kittle may have had 4. And remember, they only threw the ball 8 times in that NFC title game.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, I'm not saying that the Bears made a horrible pick when it came to Trubisky. I said there has to be a patience level.
Yeah.
There has to be a patience level. There has to be can I surround this guy with great talent? Guys like Brady and guys like Mahomes and guys like Rodgers and guys like Peyton and guys like Andrew Luck, these guys come few and far in between where they can make, chicken salad out of chicken shit for
Right,
basic
right.
way of saying
And
it.
you think that everyone can do that.
And now
No,
you're thinking everyone can do it.
No,
Like, oh, Mitchell
yeah.
Trubisky. You got to remember this man only really played 1 year in college.
Yeah.
But the Bears saw something in him where they were like, I think the ideal plan for the Bears was, I was thinking that I'm thinking that the Bears really wanted Mitch to sit down for a year.
I think so too. They were hoping that Glennon would be.
And he was
serviceable.
so right, and
Yeah.
he was so bad.
Yeah.
And like I told my buddy Rob, when Glennon was in New York, I understand why Schiano got him because he really wanted him. The thing with Mike Glennon is because he's not the most fleet of foot, you got to have that solid O-line. He can make the throws. Mike Glennon can make throws. He's got a big-ass arm.
Yeah, and he's a big dude, too.
And
he's like 6'7"
he's like
himself.
6'7".
Yeah.
He can see over an offensive line. His accuracy is decent. It's not great, but it's decent.
Mm-hmm.
But if your offensive line can't block, he's not moving.
He's not mobile, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what killed him. I think what killed him in Tampa Bay is that they drafted Jameis and they threw the hype on Jameis.
Yeah, and Glennon had done okay replacing, what's his name?
Josh Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman. So, and by the way, as we were talking, guys, Sacramento's Buddy Hield did win the three-point contest. And apparently what was an exciting one, I think I missed it because Devin Booker was supposed to win it, and then on the last shot, Buddy hit it, and he did win. So congrats to Sacramento's Buddy Hield for winning the three-point contest.
Steven asks, I can't see Brady going to the silver and black, maybe the Chargers.
I think he wants to go to California too, but I would also say be careful about the whole Oakland Raiders thing because I think here's the thing about Gruden that I think people don't quite understand yet. He massages egos really well. That's why the whole AB thing even came to be, because he knew I can massage an ego if I need to. We can make this happen as long as we're winning football games. Now, there's the rumors that Derek Carr is on the block, obviously. One of the teams being interested is the Bears, but the thought process is that if we can get Derek Carr out of here and show Brady that basically we have Josh Jacobs, we still have money to spend on receivers, amazing offensive line. One of those guys used to protect you.
Did you hear that the Raiders might actually be considering bringing back Antonio Brown?
Yeah, and I heard that, and I also heard because let's be honest, AB is on a apology tour right now.
Okay,
he's on his Instagram saying I'm sorry. He posted one with him and Roethlisberger with a long message saying I'm sorry, I didn't know. Listen, dude, this is a guy who's clearly going through some shit, mentally. AB.
Yeah.
And a guy who right now, let's be honest, dude, if you and I were 18 years old, had nothing our whole lives, and then I'm 18 and I go on a college campus and I'm the shit and I get drafted and now I'm a 100,000-aire and now I'm a millionaire and now I'm a multi-millionaire and this all happened in 10 years. I don't think either one of us would be in a great position. Okay?
I'm with you on that.
Nobody ever teaches these guys how to fucking be millionaires, be responsible role models. And I think AB, I'm not trying to make excuses for his actions, but everybody acts out in the way that he acted out. And he just did it on a public stage and made an ass out of himself. And I feel bad for him, but he's clearly now saying, I'm sorry, I want to play football now. We'll see how many teams bite, but I think the Oakland Raiders are a good destination for him simply because they know what the fucking circus is now. Let's just try and keep it under wraps.
But the same thing that I just said that I don't want Tampa to do, I feel like the Vegas Raiders are going to do, and that's put a Band-Aid on a big problem because John Gruden over his career, for as much as everyone want to make him out as the quarterback guru, has succeeded with veteran quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's weird.
We always see the Gruden camp corner when he was on ESPN, talking guys up like Mike Glennon, talking guys up like
Mr.
Trubisky, talking guys up like Sam Darnold, talking some of these guys up.
Yeah.
And then he did it with Chris Sims.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Chris Sims preceded Brad Johnson after the Bucs kind of quote-unquote tore up the dynasty.
Sure.
Or I shouldn't say the dynasty. That's really
tore up the championship team.
The championship team. Thank you. Yeah. I went way ahead of myself. I apologize. Tore up the championship.
Yeah.
They went to Chris Sims.
Yeah.
And that went so horrible.
Yeah.
That Chris Sims, their offensive line was such ass.
That was really what it was. He was getting
destroyed to where his spleen damn near got ruptured.
His spleen, yeah.
So John Gruden's like, well, I can't develop no quarterback. So what do? I go out and get Jeff Garcia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then that pretty much got him fired because at that point, I
forgot about the Jeff Garcia thing.
Oh
too.
That's terrible. The last time the Bucs were in the playoffs. We were in 2009.
And they didn't need to. They didn't need to do that.
No, excuse me. Is it? What is this? 07. Either 07 or 08, because that's the year that the Giants beat the Patriots the first time.
Not the perfect season one. Oh no, that was the perfect season one. Got it.
It'd have been the perfect season one. And I'm looking at this now. Dude, Derek Carr is not that bad of a quarterback.
No, he's not.
Not
I
at all.
feel bad for him.
I think, and it's just like, it's, okay, that's why I kept saying that I thought that I wouldn't have been shocked if Peterman or Glennon took over for Derek Carr in the middle of the season, because John Gruden just don't like Derek Carr because that's not his guy. That's not a guy he talks up. He talked up Peterson. He talked up, for whatever reason, Glennon.
Dude, that Hard Knocks, you would have thought both of them were starting quarterbacks the way he was talking about.
I swear to God, dude, especially Nathan Peterman.
It's like,
the same Nathan Peterman who threw 5 interceptions in 6 passing attempts.
Yeah. By the way,
come on, dude.
Damian Lillard is performing live. He's not healthy enough to play the All-Star game. He's replaced by Devin Booker, but he is performing his rap song live in Chicago at the United Center. Dame Dalla, as he's known. And All-Star weekend, or I guess All-Star Saturday, is about to end here with the dunk contest. But yeah, it's Dame Dalla, and I don't know who this other gentleman is, but we'll find that out for you soon.
Wait a minute. That's not Yachty.
No, that's not Lil Yachty. No, I want to say that is.
Is it like one of the ASAPs?
No, I want to say, because he's from L.A., is Lillard, so I gotta imagine this is like an L.A. guy. I can't,
dude, I know none.
Me neither. I was gonna say something like Rich Roddy, but I don't even know who Rich Roddy is. I just saw he had a CD out today. It's like, maybe Rich Roddy. I don't know. That's how out of the game I am. But yeah, the All-Star weekend's about to wrap up too.
I love how like you go on like the Facebook is like, Trippie Redd is beefing with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Who the hell is Trippie Redd?
Who? Yeah, I know.
Well, I know who 6ix9ine is. I've always known what his dumb ass is.
But that's why it's so sad. Is like they just make themselves famous by doing the stupidest and being the dumbest people, and then they just like the worst part is, remember the Catch Me Outside girl? Now,
hey! You will not diss Bad Baby in front of me.
I'm sorry, but all I'm gonna say is
bars, homie.
Remember when she first went viral? Everyone was like, "Oh, what a terrible this and that."
Catch Me Outside, how about that?
Yeah, now she's just a regular celebrity. People like her. People are like, "Oh my God, Danielle Brigioli."
Well, that's a real name.
And it's like,
but I mean, it depends on who you're talking about, because supposedly I saw on her Instagram. Well, I didn't see it on her Instagram. I saw someone that put a picture of it on Instagram where first off, and I just said it earlier, and I'm just going to be real about it. Dude, I'm a sucker for girls that cornrow their hair up. For some reason to me though, like, okay, I see it on a black woman, I think it's smoking hot, right? Yeah. And I'm like, damn, she just got them fresh braids. Let me holler, let me find out.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when white girls do it, I'd be like, damn. Okay, so you gonna rock it like that?
Yeah.
Let me find out.
It takes a specific type of white girl to go and get her. You
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, she caught hell for braiding her hair up.
God, yeah.
And then she went on to Instagram, and the how about that side came out of her.
Yeah.
And I'm like. Bro,
she's young too. It's like, dude, she's
young. Only like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, it's like, dude, leave her alone, man.
Yeah, let her do her thing, man.
People were criticizing her for her response. That's such an ignorant response. She's 17. Like, I get it. I saw her response. It was kind of stupid. She was like, I know a lot of black people and this and this and that. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of the whole cultural appropriation thing. Like, whatever. Yeah. If you have an opinion on that, I've had people who've given me good opinions on it. But when it comes down to it, you can't hold this child accountable for
Right.
for being ignorant. Like, dude, teach her or be nice or
Right.
something, but don't attack a little girl because she doesn't understand the cultural context around braids.
Right, exactly. So, this is what I figured out over in the last week. I'm starting watching more Dr. Phil. That stuff is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I'll be watching them little stories, them little first minute stories, and I swear to God, this stuff absolutely blows my mind. So he'll come out and be like, yeah, man, my daughter's been hitting me upside my head for like the last week, or no, for like last 3 years, and it has to stop. So then they go like through their day, and they be like, and like the girl's like, did you clean up your room? Shut up, bitch! I do what I want to. I'm like, are you serious?
By
You
the
just
way, I
called your mama
think
a
Dane
bitch?
just brought out Lil Wayne. If my eyes are serving me correctly, I believe this is Lil Wayne.
That is
That is
definitely Weezy.
Yeah, so riding the Wheezy train is his.
Lil Wayne was just on the Masked Singer after was it after the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Masked Singer. That's right.
He was
yeah.
the robot.
Yeah, and apparently Wayne is he's another one of these guys. He's trying to put together an ownership group to go and buy an expansion NBA team. Right now, I don't think the NBA should be thinking about expansion. Let's just put it
Hell
that way.
no.
We can't be talking about expansion right now. Like, fine, if we want to talk about getting back to Seattle.
Relocation would be better.
Sure,
than-
you want to send somebody to Seattle, fine. I'm okay with that. But if we're talking expansion right now, that's going to be really muddy.
Who would you send to Seattle?
What I will say is this. I think
Damn.
there's a couple of teams that nobody would really shed a tear
Okay.
if they left.
Okay.
And I will put on this because I know that they've already had their hearts broken once. Charlotte.
Yo, yeah.
I think you can make a case that nobody's really going to care if they leave. They have college basketball there if they need to.
Right.
And let's be honest, they are a college basketball state.
Yes.
So why fuck around? And plus, with them having the Panthers and the Hurricane, I don't think it would be that much of a thing to move them. Minnesota, I think might be an interesting one, but I also think Minnesota's a case of like, you might have to have small market teams like Minnesota around because they do generate interest in Minnesota relatively.
Right.
And let's be honest, I mean, you know, I for one would say, if you want to talk about an expansion franchise with a plan that brings them in within the next 5 years, fine. But if we're talking expansion and let's bring them in 2 years and force them in, no, we can't do that. The expansion draft is going to be too crazy.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I mean, the league is already diluted as it is.
Man.
You know, like, do we really want to dilute it anymore? So I would say, but like I said, Lil Wayne apparently is one of the rappers that's in this very big conglomerate group, which I think involves P. Diddy, involves a couple of other guys who are now going to be starting to put together money to try and buy pro sports teams. Some of these guys that were involved in this group were also involved in the group that wanted to buy the Panthers. Remember when the whole Kaepernick thing happened? And
P. Diddy,
and P. Diddy swore that he was going to buy them.
And then he was going to make Collins starting quarterback over Cam in his prime.
Yeah, and
really, dude.
hope that works out for you, buddy. Yeah, so so yeah, no. There's clearly some buzz around it, but not happening. I don't want it.
Bring in another Illuminati team, because Jay-Z sure did Illuminati up the Brooklyn Nets, right?
And the funny part is, Jay-Z. You know, him and Beyonce, people thought him and Beyonce sat for the national anthem when they were at the Super Bowl.
God, yeah.
And I was like, first of all, he already went against Kaepernick, so I don't know why you would think that. But he said, no, we were working. We were producers, and we were watching all of the production of the show because we were the ones who put together the show. So Beyonce and we were working. That's why we weren't standing. Okay. Well, But Colin Kaepernick does it for a legitimate reason. He's blackballed. Everybody hates him. He's the devil. But Jay-Z and Beyonce, they sit and probably didn't even notice. They're probably just like, I'm Jay-Z. I don't need to notice that there's a national anthem on right now. But yeah, people were saying, "Oh yeah, he's protesting himself." He doesn't.
They was lost in the moment. Like somewhere, Jay-Z's like, "Man, I know I ain't the smartest man in the world, but does that sound like the Star Spangled Banner?
Is that the national anthem? Because
like,
everyone else is standing
right, and at this point, it's El say does that. You're like, well, shit, might as well just stay here now.
My
What's the
ears
point?
are playing tricks on me clearly because that sounds like the national anthem.
Right.
But
Banner, yeah, and you're like, okay, well,
nothing beats Fergie at the All-Star game a couple years ago. Still my favorite. Whoa, yeah.
And then they made that remix.
That song was, and the best part is the remix involved the faces of the players and Draymond Green laughing and everybody
Steph's
just
laughing.
And poor Fergie, she thought she was killing it too. That was the best part about it is you saw her face, and in her face she goes, "I'm killing this shit," and it was like, no, yeah. And then next thing you know, the internet explodes, and she goes, and you haven't
And
heard.
in fairness, you haven't heard from her.
You haven't heard from her since. Nope. And honestly, dude, if you're Fergie, you've made your money. You've done your shit. You got your songs. Hang out, and like all of the other celebrities like you, we'll bring you out when we're interested in you again.
Yeah.
That's what the world has become.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a celebrity and you were famous for 5 years in the 90s or the 2000s, stay put. Because if something comes up, I'll pull you back out here when I want you.
We're almost going to end the show, but I have to bring this up.
Yes,
Dude,
sir.
Is anyone really excited that Janet Jackson is coming back for another world tour?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I got shit about this because I told my buddy, Rage Against the Machine. Okay, listen.
I'd rather go see them than
I
Janet.
like Rage Against the Machine, but let me tell you something. There's nothing more anti-Rage Against the Machine than Rage Against the Machine tickets for $3,000.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Rage Against the Machine, it's in the fucking name, guys, okay? The reason why we like you is because you rage against the machine, and now you are the machine because you're literally selling your tickets for $3,000. Bros, you're gonna make enough money on it. Please bring some tickets for the rest of us, man. Like, I can't afford I could even barely afford. I was looking at what it would be to go to one of those Field of Dream games. The Field of Dream game? That's probably out of my price range at this point, man. The trip and the hotel and the tickets and this and that and the time off of work. I'm thinking no at this point.
Yeah, dude. It's one of them times where just gonna have to enjoy it from the couch and just
listen. I saw
imagine
the field.
what it'd be like to be there. But man, like I don't understand. It's like you make these nice attractions, but then everyone keeps talking about, oh, well, I think it's the viewership of why baseball attendance is down. It is clearly not the reason.
No.
Have you been to Yankee Stadium lately?
Oh, yeah.
$15 for a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. On these nuts. Matter of fact, me and my buddy Brian went to, what do they call it, Citi Field where the Mets play at? Mm-hmm. Same BS, $13 for a beer. You know what Brian and I did? Found a liquor store on the way up there, bought 3 tall boys, killed every last one of them, and the little buzz I had lasted until the game was over.
Yeah, no.
Dude, kiss my nuts. $15 for a goddamn beer?
If you want to go to Wrigley, I remember when my brother-in-law and my sister got married, they took us to a Cubs game. Mm-hmm. And it was like probably 8 of us. And I want to say that like even for all 8 of us, it was no more than $500 for all 8 of us for the full experience. Mm-hmm. If you go to Wrigley now and there's 3 of you or 4 of you and you escape with less than $1,000 between everyone spending, it's a great day.
Oh, I swear to God,
because otherwise you are screwed by the tickets, then the beers. By the way, the beers are fine. Okay, $15 each, but the food. I mean, listen, I love the Cell. I worked there for quite a while, and I will always defend the Cell's food quality because their food is very good.
Amazing.
But listen, dude, a $20 brisket sandwich. There is
that's nuts.
There is something that makes you go like. I remember I used to love the nachos in the helmet.
Oh yeah.
They used to have a smaller one, but now the one that's famous now is the big one that goes in the helmet, dude. 30. Damn
Scotty
near
got
30.
a little micro braids.
Yeah, and Scotty is the only dude who looks younger.
That's Scotty's wife?
No, his wife is Larsa Pippen. She's one of the Kardashians. Scotty's the only dude who's getting older and looks younger. Like he looks every day Michael Jordan looks more and more old, and every day Scottie Pippen looks more and more young.
And every day Michael Jordan should be embarrassed that he's not right now in Chicago in the All-Star game.
I don't understand. Here's the thing I'm starting to think about Mike. I think Mike has a lot of skeletons in his closet.
You might be right.
Because there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the spotlight more right now. I really genuinely, very, very genuinely think that Mike has a lot to hide.
Yeah.
Meaning he's done some weird shit, maybe some shady shit. I know that there was a lot of rumors about him and his gambling ways and the mafia and his dad and this and that. Like, I don't want to get into all that nasty shit, but there is no reason why the living GOAT should not be involved more in basketball. People saying, oh, he's an owner and it's a conflict of interest. No, that's not true. Magic Johnson was all over the fucking place. Listen, dude. Mike clearly values his privacy, but I also think it's more than that. I think Mike is worried that if you find out a little bit too much about him, you're not gonna like him. Yeah. And I will say this about LeBron: I don't think you'll ever catch LeBron slipping, dude.
You haven't.
He's been under the microscope since he was 16 years old, and not
being with the
same woman, all kids still with her.
Yep.
You haven't caught him slipping once.
Nope.
And not only that, he's getting better and better and more loved every single day. I'm a guy who started off not really liking LeBron at all. Even like on the court, I knew he was a great player, but I just thought, I hate this guy off the court. And more, he made me look like an asshole because he just continues to be himself, consistent, and you're never gonna catch him slipping the way that you might catch Mike slipping.
Yeah, man. There's absolutely no reason why Michael's not in Chicago. At least to say hi. This is a place where you won 6.
Do what Scotty just did. Michael Jordan. All right, thank you, and then go back to your seat.
That's all you
got to do. Let's see what Dwight's first dunk is. Oh, he did the crucifix dunk, which a shout out to Chris Staples, my former Harlem Globetrotters touree. When we were on tour at the Globetrotters, that was one of his favorite dunks to do the crucifix. But he was 6'3", and he would get his head above the rim doing that. Dwight just did it kind of casually, and yeah, pretty conservative scoring,
16,
41. For him, and they have Common, Dwayne Wade, Scottie Pippen, and a couple of others doing the judging this year. Kind of random panel there. All right, Nick, you want to wrap it up?
That's not random.
I mean,
Dwayne's
honestly,
from Chicago.
That's
Chicago,
right. You're right. Chicago. That's right. I didn't think about it.
Somebody's from. That's all.
That's right. That's right. I forgot they do it based on the city that they're in, because I was remembering last year they had like randoms in there too. But yeah, it's city stuff. So. Yeah. And this guy should win it. Derek Jones should win it. I'm convinced this guy's going to win it. If this guy's must see TV.
Hell, does he have this guy?
Please don't tell me he's going to jump over this guy. We'd have to keep this show. We have to keep this show going for just a little longer. Steve, sorry. Turn up my brightness right quick because this looks. Okay, now he's got a whole orchestra coming out. Bunch of ladies in red blazers. Let's see what they're doing. Is it a cake? Is that a cake that they just brought out? Yeah, it is a cake. And
is it his birthday?
I don't know if it's his birthday. Let's see what it says.
It says
Happy birthday, airplane mode. Okay, so that is him. Yeah, it is his birthday. And
so Derek Jones Jr.'s nickname is Airplane Mode.
I like that.
Okay, fair enough.
Because this guy, dude, I'm fucking telling you, this guy is nuts with his hops. He, by the way, speaking of the Globetrotters, when he came out of college, the Globetrotters went out of their way to get this guy because he's such a great dunker. But, yeah, he's got actual skills. Like, he can play in the league right now. So, I don't know what this whole gimmick is. Bam Adebayo, who just won the skills competition. Oh, and it's Candace Parker's on there as well as Chadwick Boseman. You were right.
Candace Parker went to Neuqua Valley.
Yep. Yeah. Man, that's right. Chicago connects. Let's see, because if he jumps over Bam at that, they just basically brought out the cake to do the thing, and then that has nothing to do with the dunk. That was kind of weird, but he said, "Hey, watch your hat, because I might fuck up your hat." Oh, come on, not now.
Oh, let it catch. All right,
Let
here
it
we
catch,
go.
okay.
All right.
Because we're gonna end on this.
End it on this. Either we're gonna go nuts or, I mean, this man.
If he does
Bam
this,
is like a
he's-
solid 20 feet away from the
cylinder, the rim.
cylinder. Yeah. I'm talking about that little line. That
Oh,
they put down there.
okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Ooh, we missed it. Oh man, dude, if he would have pulled that off, because just by that angle alone, you can see how far he is. Yeah, that's at least 15 feet away from the rim. And Bam just he did go up just a tad, but still he's gonna get another shot, which I like this. I hated before when they're like, all right, you missed it, it's over, we're done.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, let him fucking. Oh my
Did
god!
he go? Wait,
He went windmill.
Was that a windmill over
Oh
Bam Adebayo?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Let's see this replay. I want to say, because I thought he launched off of him, but I want to say he just cleared him. Oh, he did put his hand, but he did windmill. Ooh, that was nasty. Put his hand on Bam, but that's a windmill. That's a one-armed windmill at that. Wow. Yeah,
got a little boost.
but
it
still,
is what
man.
it is.
He's 15 feet away from the fucking rim. He better get a boost. Let's see.
if they give
This
him.
got to be at least a 48, 47. 48, 46, 47.
46, not bad.
All right.
Common gave him the only 10. Everybody else gave him a 9, so that's not
Common.
bad.
Common. Hey, one thing I will say is, and funny he comes up because Shaq, Shaq, we talked about being in the limelight.
Right.
This dude, I'm so impressed by Shaq now, man. Like, first of all, he's obviously a father, husband, stuff like that.
Son's transferring to LSU, by the way.
Yeah, and good for him because he, apparently he went to UCLA, but then he had the heart issue. He had heart surgery. UCLA was unwilling to commit to him moving forward, so he went to LSU. Good for him. Shaq is working nonstop, dude. This dude DJs. He's got businesses. He does the TNT thing. He's all over TV, all over this. It's going to be pretty crazy to see him and his legacy in the NBA grow. Is it Pat Connaughton? Yeah, I think it's so. Pat Connaughton of the Milwaukee Bucks coming out like, what is that? Yeah, white man can't jump. Is that it?
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, I believe this is a white man can't. And he's got Christian Yelich.
Billy.
He's got Christian Yelich out there to help him. Yeah, that's Christian Yelich. That's crazy. Christian Yelich's got an old school Bucks jersey on, and Connaughton's got the short shorts with the 90s.
Oh,
pretty solid. That was solid, especially because he was holding it so low. Yeah, that was nice. Scotty, man, whatever they're injecting you with, dude, get me some of that because I probably look older than Scotty right now.
Last thing, Steven says Lundqvist should be starting tomorrow. His stats against the Bruins, he's 28, 14, and 3 with a goal against 2.17.
Did you guys play today or no? You guys
didn't play tomorrow afternoon.
No, when did you last play?
Last night against the Blue Jackets.
And Igor got the start?
Igor is hurt right now. I guess he's nursing a bruised ankle.
Oh.
So, but they just want to give him some time to kind of like get it, keep him off his feet.
I mean, ankles for goalies is a big deal.
Yeah. So they're just letting him kind of just rest and whatnot. So, all right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and end the show. When we come back next week, we'll get into we'll get a National League.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about the National League, and then hopefully Rob Manfred resigns or grows a pair of balls.
One of the two.
And then we'll talk some more basketball as they'll be kicking back up, and then we'll get into some hockey as the Rangers should have Peter slapped the Blackhawks by then.
Into the trade deadline.
Yes, thanks to Steve as always. Thank you, PodRiver.com. If you ever want to advertise on any of our shows, check us out on PodRiver.com. Also, check out the website, MacandBlack.com. Check out PodRiver for all other awesome podcasts like these.
Mm-hmm.
It's podcasts like these you learn to live again.
Aaron Gordon. Oh, my God. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That was nasty. That's got to be a 50. I think that was a 360 between the legs reverse slam. Oh, my God.
Aaron Gordon is coming back for that chip that he should have won.
Oh, that is impressive.
Dude, look how he palms
and
the
then
ball.
two, and then gets it with one, and then slams it with two. That's a 50. That's a 50.
Dude, is Candace Parker still with Sheldon Williams?
Is she with Sheldon Williams? I didn't know that.
That's who they was.
Good for her. I mean, or good for him.
That is a solid 50.
That's a 50. Yeah. Wow. Great dunk. That's a winning dunk right there.
That's who she went to elope with a long time ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Candace, I see you. And Shaq looked okay with it. He didn't look too impressed. All right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So, guys, do us a huge favor. MacandBlack.com.
Yep.
PodRiver.com.
Yep.
We will be at Reps.
iTunes
as well. Please, iTunes. And we'll be
Yep.
at Reps not next week, but the following week.
Leap year Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Steve. Everyone, peace.
Deuce.